Twitch, YouTube, hello. It is me again. I know. What are the odds? Shocker. I'm butzing with things. No idea. I can have a previously recorded thing run? Oh, hell yeah. That'd be crazy. Could ignore everyone. Sorry, I was looking at Twitch options. Anyway, justice for all, baby. Let's do this. Let's get to the trial. It's about time. Spent 3 hours yesterday not in trial. All investigative legwork for the final case, which makes sense. It's the final case. Ahem. Duck lawyer, indeed. Probably going to be one of the emotes it might not be lawyer-themed per se, but it definitely will be my duck saying objection that I'll commission Atlas for next month. Ahem. This guy was like, Surfer Bro. God, you take me away for one day, and suddenly I can't remember anyone's voice. Dude, Adrian did it. That's what it looks like. Dude, no way. That woman couldn't do anything like that. In court today, there will be a mountain of evidence that will implicate you. A mountain of evidence? I'm certain there is someone out there trying very hard to pin this whole thing on you. Please, Mr. Lawyer, dude, like I said yesterday, I'm refreshing like a spring breeze, all right? I can't let any sort of scandal ruin that. I understand. Edgeworth? Well, it's almost time. God, well, I mean, hey. Not sorry to see you, just shame I guessed wrong. Mia? We must get a plate acquittal today. I know. But I can't focus on Maya's situation right now. Can't think why, Mia! Or Pearl's either. Well, no matter what, I have to focus on winning this case by the end of the day. Indeed. Well, let's get going. That means Arg's here. Hey, Arg, what's up? It's him, Arg. This is right! Good morning. This is it, Mr. Attorney. The day of the trial. Maya, she's unharmed, right? Well, when I checked on her earlier this morning, she seemed a bit, how shall we say, tired. But don't worry, people don't die that easily. Besides, what you really should be concentrating on is winning today's trial. For my sake as well as yours, you must win today's trial. Which is why I sent you a little present this morning. Present? Same as usual, what's up with you? Not much going on. Just, you know, making plans. Took the week off from D&D because we're transitioning between campaigns. Kaida's running the next one. What in the world would you want to give me? You'll figure it out once the trial starts. And even if you don't like my gift, I expect you to graciously accept it and win the day's contest, if you please. Wait! The kidnapper sent me a present. I hope it's a plate of cookies. Mr. Lawyer, dude, who was that? No one. It has nothing to do with you, so forget you heard anything. Dude, did your nose just get longer? Even this asshole can tell I'm lying. Damn it, Phoenix. You're the worst lawyer. 10 a.m. District Court. Court is now in session for the trial of Matt Engarde. I do hope I spelled that right in the title. Yep, sure did. All the prosecution, the defense ready. No, he's the worst liar. Yeah, indeed. Defense is ready, Your Honor. Oh. I say, Mr. Wright, what happened to Miss... I'm not her keeper, what do you mean? I don't know, Your Honor. Why are you getting mad at me? Hey, Your Honor. Please be quiet, bailiff. Court is in session. If you must tell me something, please keep it brief. Now then, what is it? Prosecutor Von Karma has, this morning... Oh, shit! Ms. Von Karma was shot by an unknown gunman. What? Shot? Yo, that is, that's intense. Somehow. I think this is the present that man was talking about. Yo, what if it wasn't, though? What if he did send a plate of cookies? Huh? Thinking maybe, you know, plate of cookies for Phoenix. Be nice. Show me he cares. His present? Miss Von Karma is one of the top prosecutors in the country at the moment. Really? She's like 0-3. What do you mean? 0-2, I guess, but still. If she were to disappear, it would be to your advantage. This is totally insane. Miss Von Karma, is she all right? I don't have that answer. She's Gumshoe, Edgeworth. That's good. Phew. I thought he'd show up. Why are you there? Edgeworth, what are you doing? You're not the witness. Go over to the prosecutor's bench, damn you. Your Honor, due to the circumstances, Miss Francesca Von Karma cannot appear in court today. I, Miles Edgeworth, will be taking her place. The prosecution is ready. Naturally. We're in the wrong goddamn spot, so it's fucking unbelievable. There we go. Staunch professional, my ass. Miss Von Karma was shot in her right shoulder and is currently undergoing surgery. Luckily, I have looked at the case over and am familiar with the details. Now the prosecution seeks to prove the guilt of Mr. Matt Engarde. Did we confide in Edgeworth that there's a hostage situation vis-a-vis Maya? You know, just have him somewhat on our side in this situation? The court acknowledges the prosecution. Right. I finally found the answer I was struggling for on my long journey this past year. Turns out the chicken did in fact come before the egg. Who knew? It's just him being dramatic as usual. Yeah, it checks out. By the time this case comes to an end, you two will know the answer. I always thought it was the egg first. Now then, the prosecution would like to call its first witness. Please bring Detective Gumshoe to the witness stand. I'm gonna say he's probably got some mixed feelings about this. Your name and occupation. My name's Dick Gumshoe, sir. Think so, we only told Gumshoe? Yeah, but surely Gumshoe would have confided within Edgeworth, right? I'm a detective down at the precinct for now. For now? After this trial's over, I'm supposed to turn in my badge, sir. Detective Gumshoe? The prosecution has no need for a depressed witness. Wow, get fucked. Didn't ask, Gumshoe. Lift your head up and face forward like a proud officer, Detective Dick Gumshoe. Yes, sir. Now let's have your testimony. If we want to explore the various facets of this case, we must start with that. Get ready, Banax. God, it's like the first game again. Just everyone's here. It's Mia, me, Gumshoe, Edgeworth, the judge. Fucking, and Will Powers as well, huh? This is just case 3 from the last game. Wait a minute. This is gonna be a very rough fight. 7-9 for 24 months. God, that's almost a year. Crazy. It's crazy I've been able to allow people to, or trick people into giving me money that long. Unbelievable. Thank you very much. It would have to be with Edgeworth as my opponent. It's just you. Hey, you know, that's 24 months is nothing to sneeze at, 7-9. Semi-loyal goes a long way, apparently. The answer he was struggling for. Interesting. Show me this answer you finally found, Edgeworth. The bare facts of the case. Get it, bare, because the room is full of... Okay. The murder happened after the Hero of Heroes award ceremony, sir. Replace Maya with pearls. Well, no, it's still Mia. Really, it's just a long excuse for Phoenix to still be working for Mia. There's a lot of tax documents that we have to fill out if Mia didn't show up every game. It's a whole thing. The victim, Juan Corrido, was found dead in his hotel room. After looking into the cause of death, we believe he was definitely murdered, sir. I mean, yeah. At first, we thought there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. However, we later found out the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. Well, that's definitely going to be something I'd like to press upon. After the award ceremony ended, the victim was alone in his room? Yes, sir. Both the victim and the defendant went alone to their rooms, sir. I thought Adrian Andrews was with Matt for a bit. Gonna turn off the get up and move redeem? I wasn't planning on it. Why? Who died? Who did it? Person who died is still this guy, dude who has a random-ass crazy straw coming out of his butt chin there. And he's the accused, but because I'm representing him, obviously, he's not doing that. Yeah, I wasn't going to turn off Get Up and Move. I plan to add another dance emote after the Mass Effect stream for the old Shepherd Shuffle, but that has to come first. And I want to add a Cagney Carnation dance, because that at least I can, do while sitting down, so. Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. And I did think about adding, I don't know, a crab rave or something. Just very expensive, but play crazy-ass music while it's going on. Make it a whole thing. Would you please give us a brief timeline of what happened after the ceremony? Okay, pal. The ceremony started at 6 p.m. It ended around 8 p.m., then there was a short break. Special post-ceremony show was supposed to start in the lobby 30 minutes later. And that's when the victim's body was found, correct? Which is to say, the murder occurred during that 30-minute break period. Please continue with your testimony. I dance emotes, I wonder if it works. I mean, I'm seeing it show up. Yep, it's on stream now. There you go. Von Karma gained some weight and swapped genders and got a couple years older. So, there you go. Why does he look so old? That's just me with the passage of time. Victim 1, Carito, was found dead in the hotel room. The person who discovered the victim's body was Adrian Andrews, correct? Yeah. Who is this Adrian Andrews you're talking about? She's the defendant, Matt Engarde's manager. She's a real pretty lady, sir. Ah, so she's a pretty lady. I wonder if she will grace us with her presence. Me, anytime I stream and wonder if my wife will be in the chat. Last stream, he said he got winded after doing it and then went back to doing voices. Oh, yeah, I was considered turning it off when I was doing the voices, but, all me getting winded and doing voices means is that I'm fat and need to work out, so it's a good reminder, so gotta leave that there. When the post-ceremony show was about to start, she went to get Mr. Engarde. After visiting his womb, she went next to the victim's womb to get him for the show, sir. I see, and that's when she found the victim's body. Looking to the cause of death, we believe he was murdered. Yeah, correct. There you go. One thing I know, I redeemed his Kirby Squeak Squad. Not a thing! The cause of death, wasn't that because Mr. Carito was stabbed in the chest? Only a careless amateur would believe something so brainless as that, pal. Wow! Fucking, can we strike that from the record, Your Honor? What the fuck? Take a good, hard look at the crime photo. Now a real close attention will be drawn here to the bandana. I mean, I'd be looking at the knife and that very obviously missing buttony bangly thing on his chest. Not even Kirby's... That's not even a game... God damn it! I can't handle you and 7-9. Banana! His bandana, sir. The thing wrapped tightly around his neck. Ah, yes, I see. I was just thinking about the Minions movie. His banana-scented bandana, of course. Can we fire the judge? Who's in charge of this? Someone fire this man. What about the knife? It seems to have been stuck in the victim's chest on purpose after his death. We have a crafty murderer on our hands here. Strangled with a scarf, then stabbed with a knife. Interesting. Well, so wait, if the knife was stabbed after the fact, then obviously Matt's being set up, because it's his fingerprints on it. He wouldn't just find him dead and then stab him and be like, well, job's done, I guess. That's why you're not a pro. My attention would first be drawn to the knife in his chest and the missing button and not the bandana. Yeah, that's why you're not a pro, Ark. As Gumshoe made very clear, a pro would notice the bandana. And why did you think that? Because it was empty, pal. The Gemin Ninja doesn't go anywhere without his bright red guitar. And we couldn't find it anywhere at the scene of the crime. Oh, then how about this theory? I'm sure we don't need it, actually. A fan really wanted the guitar and did it the crime to get it. How's that? Your Honor, I agree. Pronounce that fan guilty. We thought of that too, but but the only fingerprints on the guitar were the victims. Only the victims, huh? I see. So much for my theory, then. There's water on top of the lid, only on top of the lid. Bears Corrida's fingerprints. Was there seasoning inside? No, there was nothing inside. However, we later found out it had nothing to do with the murder. What convinced you it had nothing to do with the case? The guitar wasn't at the Gatewater Hotel that night. Really? Why'd he bring a case then? Well then, where was it? The white guitar was eventually found at the TV studio. Then why'd he have a case? The victim, Juan Corrida, had apparently only taken the case with him. Why? So you mean he forgot to put the guitar inside the case? That seems like it would be immediately noticeable when it's, you know, much lighter. Yes, sir. Even when he was on stage for a ceremony, he didn't have his guitar. Notice the bandana, simply didn't think it had any relevance at the time, given the knife being in his chest. That's why you're not a pro. He didn't carry seasoning. So the guitar case was empty even before he got to the hotel. Empty, to reiterate. Yeah, that's white. So it really had nothing to do with the case after all. I believe that is enough. First, the victim was choked to death with the bandana. Then, after the victim was dead, the killer deliberately stabbed him with a knife. Which brings me to my next point. Why then did the police arrest Matt Engarde? Because there was reason enough to suspect him. Here it comes. Looks like Edward's back in full swing. Very well. Detective Gumshoe, please testify about this matter. Yes, sir. Why arrest Engarde? Well, the knife should, since that wasn't the cause of death, it should really not be considered here, and in fact, be used to suggest he's being framed. Matt Engarde and Juan Corrida were huge rivals with each other. They each thought of the other guy as in his way. That's motive enough in my book. As for evidence, there's the Jammin' Ninja's button. It was whipped off the ninja. All bloody. Oof. Whipped off the ninja costume and found inside Mr. Engarde's hakama. I think Corrida would notice the guitar missing from the case based on the weight difference. Yeah, surely he was smuggling something. Defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife that didn't kill him. The defendant bought the knife for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder. That's not what killed him! What the fuck, Gumshoe? Outrage. Gotcha! The defendant's fingerprints were found on the knife used in the stabbing. It was sort of sticky on the handle, so the fingerprints came out pretty clearly, sir. As victim's fingerprints, blood and Engarde's fingerprints in the grip, Gatewater is engraved. Yeah, how messy of an eater is Matt that the handle of the knife is sticky? And there's this button. That was found in the defendant's clothes, was it? And this button is also covered in blood? Yes, and we know the blood on it is the victim's blood, sir. What? Phoenix, why are you surprised by that? Was ripped from his costume, covered in Corrida's blood, found in Engarde's hakama. Wasn't smuggling seasoning or spices. If it turns out this goddamn asshole was smuggling any sort of spice in that stupid guitar case, I'm never hearing the end of it from anyone in chat. Please, smuggle anything that isn't spice. That's all I ask of you. All of this points very clearly to the defendant, doesn't it? Yes, it most certainly does, Your Honor. Ready to give in yet, right? Humph! I'll find the hole in your argument somehow. It's pretty fucking obvious. You can press as hard as you like, just hurry up with their usual pointless questions. Grr. Hasn't missed a step, that Edgeworth. T-pose on us like Von Karma did. I mean, she does kind of go for a T when she bows, doesn't she? She curtsies, I suppose. Edgeworth's more of a bow. In terms of popularity, Matt Engarde won, did he not? Yeah, but you know what's ironic, pal? Juan Corrida was always one step behind Matt Engarde in everything. This year, it seems like he'd finally caught up, ready for the big final showdown. But Mr. Corrida lost the Grand Prix in the end. That's too bad. He must have been pretty downhearted after losing. Yeah, and then he died. It was a real shit night for the guy. Minor spoilers, and then I won't read the rest of that because it's a spoiler. Wait just 1 second. Mr. Engarde was beating Mr. Corrida in the popularity polls. Well, yeah, I guess, but, which means that in my defendant's eye, the victim was not his rival at all. I mean, not worth his time, maybe, but potentially a rival. Second place, you know, up and coming is still noteworthy if you're in first place. Which means he had no motive to kill at all. That I agree with. Yes, I quite agree. Well, detective, it's not, well, I guess if you put it that way, then yeah, the defendant would have had no motive. Yo, Gumshoe must be so relieved that the prosecutor can't whip him at this point. Edward doesn't carry that shit around. He just yells, "Detective, I'm beginning to see why you were fired." Aw, not you too, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. I look forward to your pension negotiations. Haven't missed a step, eh? No. Now, detective, let's continue with the testimony. No, not my poor pension, too. Detective, if you value your money, I suggest you proceed. Yes, sir. We can talk about my pension later, sir. What about what I was saying? Hello, anyone? Yeah, we're just gonna ignore that point then, I guess. Major spoilers per replace Maya as our legal assistant. Oh, no! It's about there being no spice in the guitar. Oh, okay. Edgeworth's burns are more painful than Francesca's whips. Gumshoe's just used to the former more. That's fair. That's fair. Do you have any proof? Do you have any proof the button belonged to the victim? Huh? I mean, fucking look at the photo, Phoenix. This is not a good line of questioning for you. What do you mean, pal? Oh, let me put it this way. I'm asking you if you have any evidence to back up your claim that this button was whipped off the Jammin' Ninja's costume. Huh? But can't you tell just by looking at it? And the victim's blood is on it. Anyone could have smeared that blood on there afterwards. Mr. Edgeworth, help me, sir. All right, I knew it had to be this piece of evidence. Now to reel this one in. Thread. Huh? The button was attached to the costume by thread, obviously, and that thread snapped when the button was torn off. If you match up the ends of the thread on the costume with the thread on the button, it is a perfect match. Yeah, that's it. They're a perfect match, pal. Erg. That's Edgeworth for ya. Never messes up, babe. Indeed. Gonna pour lemon juice on Gumshoe's wounds, Edgy. I don't think Edgeworth would ever really allow Gumshoe to be fired. That said, he hasn't been seen in like 12 games, so maybe. Maybe he finally did retire and is living in a gutter somewhere. When was this button found? Edgeworth's basement. Without Edgeworth's knowledge or permission, he's just, scouring in Edgeworth's basement. Pretty soon after the body was found, we wound up everyone who knew Mr. Koida. And then we did a search on them all. That's when we found the button. So it was almost immediately after the murder. The police didn't have free time to lollygag and play tricks, unlike some people. Hey, what's he trying to say about me here? What trick did I play? And his fingerprints are on the knife. It's like a Beyonce kept Saya in her basement. Sure, that's a reference I get. How are the fingerprints arranged on the knife? Either in Edgy's basement or Phoenix's office. Now, Phoenix's office is already... He's got Trucy living there, Apollo, Athena, at least one of the Fays, Pearl or Maya, depends on the month, I suppose. Maybe Emma Skye. She probably makes enough to have a place of her own, though. What do you mean, pal? By examining the fingerprints, you can determine how the defendant held the knife. For example, did he hold it normally or overhand? So I guess he means, I don't have a knife in my room here, except my pocket knife, but that doesn't really illustrate the point. Did he hold it more of a stab, forward motion, or more of like an overhead gah, gah, gah motion? I'm gonna really runs the office, Charlie the plant. Oh yeah, well, he's the landlord, but I mean, Phoenix, he's the doorman, really. Where's Emma? Shut up. She's in Europe at this point, I think, canonically. Oh, is that what you mean? Well, we actually didn't think of that. I can't believe this bumbling of this department. Honestly, that's not just on Gumshoe. He's the poor sap having to talk to them about it, but the whole department should be like, what the fuck are you doing? Were you paying attention to the testimony, Mr. Wright? The defendant's fingerprints were all over the knife. There is no way to determine how the knife was held at the moment of the murder. So is the defendant the owner of this knife, then? Defendant brought the knife for the crime. The way the judge said that, I thought what was going to be brought up was the fact that the knife was not the murder weapon. The way the judge said, did he own the knife then? And they're saying he brought the knife for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder. I think I need to prove that this knife was at the Gatewater Hotel and therefore it wasn't premeditated, which... Alright, I guess is a step in the right direction, but I'm trying to prove that he didn't do it, let alone, you know, the premeditated part, I guess, is part of it. It just seems like I'm missing the forest for the trees here. One more person to add to the list? Oh, Larry. Yeah, Larry probably lives there, too. Gingerly between his index finger and thumb. What, like this? He held the knife like this and was like, stab you with my loosely held knife. There's no way this was a premeditated murder, even if he brought the knife. Sorry, pal. This isn't some pocket knife. Like so. It doesn't fold, so it's not great for walking around with either. Gotta start somewhere with the innocent thing, I suppose. Arg, well, this is no good. If the prosecution can prove that it was a premeditated murder, we're done for. Banox. Yes? There's something very interesting about what the detective said just now. Think carefully before it's too late. I mean, I feel like it's the knife on the statement either way, but my argument would be that the man was dead before the knife was... Right? That we determined that, right? Let me see the autopsy report here. There it is. Yeah, strangled with scarf, then stabbed with a knife. My argument would be that he was dead before the knife was placed in him, and yet you're acting like the knife made this a premeditated murder. We should be looking at the scarf, not the knife. I don't know why the knife's... Alright, it's a bit weird that it's there. I suppose relevant maybe is the wrong word, but I don't know why it's the pertinent piece of information here. Whatever. It's a Gatewater knife, bitch. Brought the scarf to the venue. He might have worn it himself, who knows? We arrest... suicide. He strangled himself with his own scarf. Brilliant! He then framed Matt Engarde. Exactly. Wait a second. What? So the basis of your argument is that this was a premeditated... The basis of your argument that this was a premeditated murder is simply that my client brought a knife beforehand. That's right, pal. The defendant did not buy this knife. I also would have thought brought the knife. I would assume he means to the crime scene, like from his room, not to the hotel. But whatever, we got there. Thanks, Judge, for clarifying that. Take a good look at the handle of this knife. You'll see what I'm talking about. Huh? It has a Gatewater seal set into the handle. Gatewater. I think I'm... You know what, Gumshoe? Maybe you do need to be fired. Find a different job. You're a nice guy. Maybe be like a crossing guard or something. It's the fucking scene of the murder! What the fuck is wrong with you? God damn it, Gummy. I love you, but holy shit, man, you're bad at this. It's the name of the hotel, the Gatewater Hotel. Uh-oh. God damn it. The murder knife was actually... It wasn't a murder knife. Was actually property of the hotel, which means this murder was not premeditated. Yes, that is very true. This is a very big... What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sorry, but the defense is simply too careless. Are we? Comparatively, are we? What? I think whether the crime was premeditated or not has already been determined. How so? I admit this knife is hotel property. There is no one currently on police force that is dumb enough not to realize this. But I didn't... Oh. The question is... Where did this knife come from? It's not the murder weapon! Who cares where it came from? Oh my god. That's a stretch, Feeny, about the knife thing. I just don't know why we're so caught up on this knife that isn't the murder weapon. Why, that's obvious. It came from the victim, Mr. Corita's room. Sorry, Your Honor, but that is incorrect. Jesus, forgot about all those. The victim ate a last meal before he was murdered. With that being the case, I would like to draw the court's attention to what is on top of the table. Appears to be a bottle of tomato juice. There's a knife and fork on the table! Then, where in the world does this knife come from? If it pleases the court, I would like for us to recall the room of the defendant, Mr. Matt Engarde. Uh-oh. You're telling me Matt wouldn't have used the sword or the spear, he'd have used the knife? Come on. Especially what was on top of his table. There's something missing. Perhaps it is a single knife. Those are harmless props. Damn it. We investigated the leftover dishes for fingerprints, and while we were investigating, we came to the conclusion that Mr. Matt Engarde's knife was missing. Erg. Mr. Engarde had gone to the victim's room with the knife he had been using during dinner. Why would he carry a knife to a visit? On a visit. To kill, of course. And with that, I believe the prosecution has proven this was a premeditated murder. Yeah, I kind of thought that's what they meant in the first place, but also not the murder weapon. Why are we... Can we get to the scarf? Oh, I'm sorry. What I meant to say was amazing, Mr. Edgeworth. Absolutely brilliant. A brilliantly clear deduction. It seems like Edgeworth had this plan from the very beginning. I don't know why. It's irrelevant. This must be one of those traps. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? And I just walked into it headlong. Phoenix, the whole game and the previous game, you were dealing with this shit. What do you mean this must be one of those traps? A murder weapon with fingerprints and a button for from the victim's costume. There is quite a sizable amount of evidence here. Boy, it would be if that was the murder weapon, huh? I can safely say any further deliberation is a waste of time, Your Honor. Although, I wouldn't mind if the defense were to present evidence not yet shown to the court. Evidence not yet shown? That means evidence the court hasn't seen yet. In other words, no evidence. What does the defense have to say about this, Mr. Wright? Well, Phoenix. The judge is favoring the prosecution right now. If we answer with something wrong here, that gavel will be ringing out the sound of our defeat. Thankfully, Mia's here to teach Phoenix how court works. Indeed. Edward's trap confirmed. What evidence do I have that's, like, new? These were all just added, the autopsy report. I mean, I feel like I should be, am I the asshole? I'm the attorney's badge. Am I the asshole? Why aren't we talking about the scarf at this point? Who gives a fuck about the knife? Alright, it's weird that his fingerprints are on it and are in his chest. We can deal with that later, though. The murder weapon is the scarf. Ugh. Give your business card to the judge again. Wasn't my business card. It was, oh, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, that was the first case. It was my business card. Crime photo. No. New evidence. I don't think I have any new evidence at this point. I don't know what I would present here. The only thing I think that's new at this point that, like, the court wouldn't already know about would be irrelevant stuff like, you know, the magazine clipping and the suicide report, which is just, you know, the attempted one, which is, I don't know where that would get us. Look at the judge's psych locks. I don't think I have anything for this. Anything important and necessary to present to the court? I mean, maybe if it's important and necessary, I need to present something to establish, you know, Adrian Andrews as a likely suspect, but I don't know. Gotta be honest, I'm not thinking of it. I don't right now, I guess. Has to be another trap. Better if I don't say anything. Better if I don't say anything than risk throwing out a bad piece of evidence. Looks like the defense isn't saying a peep on this one. Which means this court is adjourned. Baymax! Well, it's a case of you give up here. Oh, shit. So you better show that judge something quick. Slow down. We all know I have a tendency to be wrong more than... I can't even say it. Your Honor, I just had to think about it for a minute. One piece of evidence catches my attention. Consult the makeshift guide. I prefer not to do that when I, don't need to. And it's not like I took a penalty anyway, so... Something this court has yet to see. Mr. Wright! I will say this one more time. I do not feel this trial needs to continue at all. However, I'm giving you one chance, and only one. What the judge is saying, Wright, is don't try pulling any one of your usual bluffs here. If I mess this up, it's curtains for all of us. Oh, shit, that's quite a bit of bar, actually. Let's just fucking... Ahem. We now present one and only one piece of evidence. What is the important evidence you must show us? Flip, I don't know. The reports, while they might establish Andrews as a suspect, I think lack relevance at this point, unless I'm using them to establish relevance. The guitar case, it was wet, which means something was spilled on it, which is probably that flower vase, which happened during a struggle. Also appears to be some lotion and cosmetics, also from the struggle. The wine glass was there after the struggle. Would that be relevant? The wine glass matter at this point. Found next to the victim, filled with mayo juice, no sign it's been drank. I mean, a case could be made that, like, clearly someone was here after they found the body. Which is why there's just, this perfectly uncapsized, not knocked over at all wine glass of tomato juice. There's no damn seasoning involved in this case. Sure, fuck it. I saved. This is a wine glass, is it not? Please look at the photo of the crime scene one more time. Note that he's strangled with a scarf. Can we talk about that, please? His scene is a mess because the victim struggled against his assailant. The vase is broken, his makeup's all over the floor. These were all things that were at one point sitting on top of the dresser. Also, the guitar case was opened after the fact as well, since it was only wet on top, meaning that when the vase crashed, it was closed. Well, yes, I see your point. However, this glass that is sitting on top of the dresser is mysteriously untouched. The only thing that had not fallen over along with everything else in this wine glass. This piece of evidence is more than strange enough to warrant further consideration. Well, what do you all have to say? Ah, well, yes, it is a little peculiar. Yes, isn't it? I thought it was. You can stop looking at me with those puppy dog eyes of yours now, Mr. Edgeworth. What is it, Your Honor? Your opinion? You don't need my opinion, because there is no special meaning to that glass. What? It is safe to say that the glass was set there after the crime took place, by the person who discovered the body, Adrian Andrews, for example. She could have easily been so shocked she set the glass down without thinking. That does sound very plausible, Mr. Wright. Bring up the guitar case. It was wet on top, meaning it was opened after the fight. Could Miss Andrews really have set the glass down without thinking? Weren't there fingerprints on it? I thought there was a fingerprint thing with the wine glass. There's no way! There's no way. Yeah, I don't think it is. I thought there was a fingerprint thing with the wine glass. If I appear weak here, the trial is over. I can look for my proof later. For now, I should trust my instinct and point with certainty. They might just fall for it if you're thought-provoking enough. The defense would like to challenge the prosecution's theory. We would like to see something that proves it was Miss Andrews who set the cup on the table. You've turned the situation on its head yet again, as usual. Mr. Edgeworth, do you have any proof to back up your claim? There's no way he has any. He's just bluffing. Unlike Mr. Wright, I never say anything unless I have evidence to support it. Damn it! What? I love his single, just like, what? Like, he can't believe it. He's offended. It's very funny to me. You're not thinking hard enough today, Wright. Did you think this wine glass escaped my notice? Then, of course, it has been thoroughly inspected for fingerprints. Fingerprints? There were only one set of fingerprints left on this wine glass. Only one? Well, whose were they? They were not the victims nor the defendants. Rather, they were one of it. Fuck! I don't know. I wasn't here when he found it. What? There you go. Apparently there was a thing with fingerprints, but it wasn't what I was thinking. It's just that it was Adrian Andrews, and that actually doesn't help my case very much. And that's why I said the person who had discovered the body had left it there. Are we done here, Mr. Wright? Grr. I can't believe I fell into another trap. Miss Andrews was probably holding the wine glass when she went to see Mr. Corrida. But upon seeing his dead body, she was stunned and set the glass down on the dresser. What you just said makes a lot of sense. Now, do you see, Mr. Wright? You can't change any part of my scenario as it explains everything too well. Grr. I've thought long and hard about this past year about what it means to be a prosecutor. And from here on out, I will show you the answer I have come to discover. Wait a second, Mr. Edgeworth. I think the prosecution has provided enough evidence for me to enter my verdict. Unfortunately, I cannot allow you to pass judgment yet. I don't really think it's up to you. Guilty. No! And then we never saw Maya again. Prosecution has yet another witness we would like the court to hear from. Another witness? Yes. Bailiff, please bring in the next witness. What in the world is Mr. Edgeworth thinking? I don't know. Maybe he's being thorough. Oh, God. Oh, God. Edgeworth, do you know? You don't seem like you know. State your name and occupation. You can see the breathing in the helmet. Ugh. The heavy panting. The salivating. Witness! Your name and occupation. Gotcha! I wonder what happened to that calm composure he had earlier.
Oh, edgy boy. It's been, what, a year since we last met, hasn't it? You should be more happy to see me.
I saw the report with that testimony, but who knew that under that helmet? It was the Wicked Witch of the witness stand.
I tell you, this time I know what I'm supposed to do. So today, I'm going to tell you anything and everything. Even things that don't have to do with that terrible crime.
Miss Witness, that terrible crime is all the court needs to know.
Ooh, shush! I'm talking to my dear Edgy Wedgie now. Don't interrupt us, Gramps.
Yes, madam. No, please, by all means, interrupt her, please. Witness, your testimony, please. Somehow, I wager Old Bag is still alive in the new Phoenix Wrights. Honestly, she's probably in, like, what is it, the one in the past? Great Ace Attorney or whatever? She's probably there, too, and still old.
It's true what they say, that youth are hot-headed nowadays. Not that I mind at all, edgy. Now then, what should I start with?
It's your favorite Edgeworth reaction. Oh, dear. Young Bag? No, doesn't exist. Her last name is Old Bag. The witness on security detail at the hotel. The witness was on security detail at the hotel on the night of the murder. Is that correct, Miss Oldbag?
It was a great job being able to see my dearie Juan. It was almost too much for my little heart to handle.
You mean you were a fan of the victim?
Look, everyone is crazy over that Engarde, saying he's cute in a fresh way or something. But not me. I wouldn't say anything so silly. After all, I have no interest in a child like him.
They're the same age!
I'm only interested in a real man, Juan Corrida.
Those two are the same age.
Anyway, as I was saying, I was pacing in front of his room that night.
Very well, please tell the court what you witnessed on the night of the murder.
Leave it to me, Edgy Poo.
God damn it, Oldbag.
Anyway, after the ceremony, I went to pace around in the hallway in front of his room. There was something I was interested in finding out, you know. Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye on the whole time. That's when someone showed up. It's a man coming out of poor Juan's room. It was Mad Engarde. He was trying to sneak his way out of Juan's room.
So Mr. Engarde came out from the victim's room.
See, it has to be him. He's the murderer.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
There is an achievement here. It's for her next testimony, though, so keep an eye out for that. By the way, my current gamer score at this game is 420, baby! The sex number. It was meant to be. I'm halfway with the achievements, and I'm at 420. It's crazy. Not how math works. Miss Oldbag, what was your post on that night?
The lobby. I was supposed to be helping set up the stage for that trifling show. But I refused to help, I'll have you know. It was for that lead-headed samurai show. Heh, I even took out a few of the nails.
Jesus. Maybe it was a good thing the show didn't go on.
Besides, that manager with the glasses seemed to be working hard at it without me. So I thought I'd take a break and spread my wings a little.
And that's when you went to hang around the victim's door. Something interesting in finding out. Something you were interested in? And just what was that?
It's not some little thing I can go around telling everyone you know. It's top secret between me and Juan. And Edgy Poo, of course.
Mr. Edgeworth, what was it she was interested in?
I have no idea. I despise gossip, Your Honor.
Gossip?
But should it prove relevant, we can always have it appended to our testimony later.
Looks like we should force it right now.
And did the witness stay in the vicinity of the victim's door the entire time?
On the job, made sure to keep an eye out. Oh, then would you tell us the number of people who went in and out of Mr. Corrida's room?
I have no idea. I wasn't born so I could count things for those who didn't pay attention in class. That's why ever since I turned 20, I quit keeping track of how old I really am.
God, turned 20. So you haven't known your real age in about 300 years, huh? That's gotta be weird, right?
Yes, well, that would explain why her age was not included in the report.
Shockingly, she's 24. In any case, the witness then saw someone, correct?
That's when someone showed up. It's a man coming out of poor Juan's room.
Who in the world was that?
I'm not allowed to say.
What do you mean? You're on to... You have... Why are you here if you're not...
That sort of information has to be carefully guarded from the masses.
You know, like 7-9.
Sonny. The man that came out of Juan's room. It was... He was...
Yes, he was...
I'm too scared. I can't say his name out loud.
Oh, what I wouldn't give to have Francesca's whip right about now.
Well, I guess I can tell you since he was such a bad boy anyway.
Engarde, alright. You saw my client. Are you sure about that?
Yesy!
Yesy. Yesay? Yesy, I'm gonna assume.
Yesy!
Really?
Annoying brat, when I say I saw someone, I saw that person.
Why do I get a sense of deja vu? Yeah, I seem to recall the last person you saw was actually just someone in costume. Maybe to avoid a repeat of last year, I should delve into this a bit further. Tell me about the person's face. Please tell the court about the man's face in more detail.
You don't mean to tell you about his face. That soft, gentle look in his eyes and the effeminate lips. His right eye covered by his silky hair, sparkly, shiny teeth.
I mean, she's not wrong, but are you sure you're not a fan? His teeth were shining.
Well, he's shining all around in this week's pinup poster, dearie.
This week's pinup? Why do you... I mean... I don't care how he looks in this week's issue. Please say what you saw that night.
What? Engarde's face is the same no matter where it is, you know, you whippersnapper.
So, Mr. Wright, was his testimony just now important or relevant in any way?
I don't think it was, unfortunately. I guess it wasn't really that important.
Mr. Wright, do you know why we say time is valuable? If not, I suggest you learn.
You wasted 3 minutes of this woman's youth. That's more valuable than gold to me.
Why do I suddenly feel old in the presence of her childish whining?
She may not remember things or be mistaken here, but I don't think she's lying.
This is bad.
But how's a human mind as? Off topic, blah blah blah. Sweet old lady.
Sweet old lady. So clearly it's one of those. Oh, for God's sakes. That's what makes her a sweet old lady. It's because you're not the one who has to question her. She's not a sweet old lady. She is, I mean, 2/3, I suppose. So, given what happened last year, how about you tell me about the clothes? That was also important last year. I mean, they were carrying something weird last year, too. These were all important, but... hit me with the person's clothes, why don't we? Nope, not that. That's not those two there. Not those two, 7-9. Tell the court more about the man's clothes in more detail.
What a troublesome man you are, really, as if something like that matters.
But it does.
Now what was it? Oh yeah, it was that thing.
What thing?
The gaudy thing he's always wearing, that racing jacket.
Ah, he was wearing that at detention center, too.
That thing's meant for nothing but seducing women out of their pantaloons. Humph, man.
Yo, shout out to the Pantaloon squad in chat. Right. Just third, there's nothing ladylike about her. Well, she is an old lady, so... gaudy and uppity, she is those two, I suppose.
So, Mr. Wright, was his testimony just now, important or relevant in any way?
Let me think. Guide map, crime photo, report. Well, I mean, if he's wearing the racing jacket, how'd this button get in his hakama? Wasn't he supposed to be wearing the hakama? So, yeah, I think that is important. Because it doesn't sound like you fucking saw him. Of course it's important, Your Honor. Then, perhaps you would like to point out what part of the testimony was important. Don't you see, Edgeworth? Your Honor, I request what the witness said about the jacket be appended to her testimony.
I don't quite see where you're going with this, but all right. Witness, please.
Ah, well, I don't like to badmouth anyone without reason, but if I must.
She's old, all right, just not a lady. Well, I mean, she's clearly a woman. There's far more to being lady than being a woman. True, I suppose you could refer to her as an old woman. I think in this case it's, yeah, a tomato-tomato situation, really. As a flashy racing jacket, honestly, it's all just for show. Are you sure the defendant was wearing a racing jacket?
What do you think? It's not like I've seen him in anything other than that horrible thing. I'm sure he was wearing it.
She's so sure of herself is to the point of self-absorption. I don't remember. Okay, that's... wearing the flashy racing jacket. Or was he? Yep, got it. Miss Oldbag.
What What? Don't say my name for no reason.
Do you know what this is?
Ah! It's button number 2 on the Jammin' Ninja costume.
Why do you... A little more specific. Now I know she's an obsessed fan. She identified it in a single glance.
Give it here! Give it here! If you don't give it to me, I'll punish you with this! Rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat!
She is really a die-hard fan to want a button covered in blood. Ahem. This button was discovered on Mr. Engarde's body during a full body search.
See? See? The button proves beyond a shadow of the doubt it was that rascal Engarde.
It was caught up in the pleats of his nickel samurai Hakama pants.
See? And Engarde is a nickel samurai.
Witness! Now, it may just be me, and I do have an active imagination. But just now, didn't you say that the defendant, Matt Engarde, was wearing his usual racing jacket?
Ah. I'm so sorry. Sorry that you judge people based on what they wear. I wore the trendiest dress you may think a gorgeous woman ever been stabbed to put on this ridiculous looking outfit. You'd agree this outfit's hideous, right? I got a tape recorder stuck in my chest. Let me tell you, it's heavy. Sorry, I wish it would be switched to CDs ages ago, but I'm keeping that dream alive for all those kids out there. Work hard with a smile face, understand? And take a look in the mirror, and your clothes are about as interesting as documenting our curling. You should take off the top to your edgy poo. He's got style.
I'll be honest, I don't know what she said. I read most of it and voiced it. If you ask me what she said, is I don't know, something about a CD player.
Hold your tongue still there for 1 second. So what you saw in actuality was not Mr. Engarde the man, but Mr. Engarde the nickel samurai.
But when you think about it, they're really one and the same anyway.
You did this last year! What's wrong with you? Miss Oldbag, this is a very important point we're talking about.
Edgy poo, do you think so too?
Well, it might be something worth considering. Just say it's important and agree with me for a change.
Witness, think carefully and try to remember as much as you can before you testify.
All right, if you insist.
I should be the one sighing, not you. Oh, Lord have mercy. Who I saw. All right, this is the one that has an achievement. I need to press the statement. Well, if it's just pressing a statement, then I'm going to get it anyway, because I press all the statements. Okay. That's easy enough. Ahem.
Engarde, Engarde. Yes, now I remember. The nickel samurai. That's right, it was the nickel samurai I saw. Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder. He had to go to that post-ceremony stage show right after the crime that he didn't know about. You know. So he must have worn the nickel samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan.
Also, he wasn't stabbed. Just saying.
I knew it.
I knew you'd say it was inside that costume.
What? Did you think there could have been someone else inside that costume? Don't be a bad little boy thinking such rude things.
But the possibility does exist.
Ah, youngins' day. I told you, there's no way it was anyone else in there.
How do you know that?
Because I said so, and what I say is the truth.
At least she's just as delightful a witness as she was a year ago.
Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Alrighty. Engarde. Yeah, now I remember. Would you please get on with your testimony?
Watch your language, young man. What sort of tone is that to take with an elder? My youthfulness isn't just what it used to be. You should forgive me for everything. If you keep on barking at me like that, I'll start singing.
Oh, God, please, no. I forgive you. Don't do that. What?
A striking figure by the sea, standing all alone is he. He's the nickel samurai.
She's actually singing. Someone help my poor ears.
Mr. Edgeworth, can you please do something about this racket?
Witness, I'll give you a piece of gum later if you're good and just stick to the facts.
Okay. You promise, right?
Right, I'll be sending the bill for sure. It's $1. What do you mean? Remind me to send you a thank you note later too, Edgeworth, old chum. Oh dear, what a stupid fucking game. Be a little more careful with your testimony, please. Not too long ago, you said he was wearing his racing jacket, and now he's not.
Not too long ago. Let me ask you, when you were itty-bitty, what was your grand dream?
Huh?
What'd you want to be when you grew up, whippersnapper?
My dream? Well, I, wanted to be Judge Wagner. What? You're Judge Wagner? Is that just Wagner reference? Hold on. Am I getting that right? Judge Wagner? Judge Wagner. No, Wapner, excuse me. Judge Wapner. The People's Court. Yeah, he was an American judge and the television personality known for first presiding judge in the People's Court. Not, you know, the public court, but the People's Court. Judge Wapner. Not to be confused with Judge Wagner, hero of the public court. You know, Judge Judy. Well, so what?
See? Now look where you are now. You're not Judge Wagner, are you? Are you?
Well,
What I said earlier. Who puts any weight on things like that? The now is everything. I can't be held responsible for the past.
since when did court become theatrics over testimony? Like, day one, Phoenix. What do you mean?
All that matters is that man was inside the costume. Isn't that enough?
That should be an achievement. There it is. Judge Wagner. Pressed Old Bag's claim. What's the artwork for that look like? That's not bad. I like that art. I will give it this. Phoenix Wright has some of the better achievement artwork. Normally it's just, you know, bunch of lame shit for the artwork. Like, normally it's just like the icon for PlayStation. Like, you know how the trophy has an icon? The art will just be that, but like with the game's background. So, very boring. That, whenever a game goes the extra mile and has cool artwork for their achievements, I always appreciate it. Why would that be?
That way, no one can see his face, of course.
But there's still no advantage for him that I can see. In fact, you would think the costume would make him stand out all the more.
You're such an annoying child, you know that? You disagree with everything I say.
Isn't that what you're always doing to me?
I got it. Maybe it was more troublesome for him to change in and out of his costume.
Yeah, maybe. Was there anyone else scheduled to appear at the post-ceremony show?
Well, all the contestants were supposed to go on stage in a friendly gesture thing.
And that included the Jammin' Ninja?
Of course it included him. That's why when Engarde came out of dear Juan's room, I didn't give it a second thought.
I see.
Well, anyway.
So I must have worn the Nickel Samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan. Excuse me. Ahem. So let me ask you one last time. The person you saw, it was really the Nickel Samurai. Knock something over. Apologize.
As showy as ever. Haven't I been saying that from the very beginning?
Can I throw in the towel yet? You don't need to think about too hard on this one. There's contradiction of testimony. It's sitting in plain sight. Question is what the contradiction means for us. Yeah, remember post-show. He was stabbing poor Juan. Well, I mean, as you can see, he was strangled with a fucking scarf.
It appears, Mr. Wright, you're 100% correct, and we should be discussing this. But not yet, so have a penalty and shut the fuck up.
Oh, just glancing over here at my guide. Oh, the knife! How forward of me to present this instead of this. Please take a look at this.
Yeah, so it's a knife. Big deal. Are you trying to scare me with that? I'll have you know it won't work.
No, that's not my intention at all.
That's a knife that was used in the murder.
Nope. It's a knife that was found at the murder, but was not the murder weapon. Your Honor, do you know why this piece of evidence is important to this case?
You don't even have to ask. It's because the defendant's fingerprints are on it.
Is that what you're driving at? That's oh, the costume has gloves. That's exactly what I'm driving at.
What are you driving at? And whose car are we driving?
Judge! Shut up! If Mr. Engarde was really in the Nico Samurai costume at the time of the murder, then it's impossible for his fingerprints to have been left on this knife! Actually, it would have wiped off all previous fingerprints, the knife right off.
Is a foreign model, we might need to figure out which side the driver's on. The judge is driving either way so that we all die as quickly as possible. That's right, the Nickel Samurai wears gloves, doesn't he?
He probably took his gloves off before he began the stabbing. And why would he do something like that? To leave his prints on the murder weapon? There is no way he would do something like that. However, there is one possibility. Then let's hear your possibility. It's very simple. The defendant went to the victim's room while in costume as the Nickel Samurai. At the time, the defendant had held no intent to murder. He was probably just going to relax and talk with the victim about the stage show. Which is why he took his gloves off.
But the murder still did take place.
It is well known that there was bad blood between the defendant and the victim.
Yes, I've heard that before. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say about Mr. Edgeworth's theory?
So let me get this straight. Edgeworth's theory goes like this.
But he brought up
When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intention of killing him. Now, up until this point, are there any problems with that theory?
Yes! He wouldn't have brought a fucking knife in that case. This theory contradicts something earlier in a testimony. What are you babbling about?
Now, for argument's sake, let's suppose Mr. Edgeworth was the killer, if that's the case.
I think it's impossible for the killer to have gone to the victim's room without intent. The knife again, I assume?
Yeah, the knife.
Again. When are we gonna talk about the fucking actual murder weapon? In defense of the game, they're right. The gloves and the fingerprints are an issue that's being presented here that we need to address. I'm just extremely annoyed that we're so fixated on what is not the murder weapon. I agree it's weird that it's in his sternum. He was stabbed. Address that later. Are there prints on the scarf? Clearly someone strangled him and then planted a knife in his chest. Why? How long after he was strangled did the knife get there? I think all more relevant and important questions.
This knife, this was used by Mr. Engarde at dinner.
Yes, we did establish that.
Which means if my client was, in fact, the killer, then he brought the knife with him when he went to visit Mr. Corrida. I suppose. However, you just said yourself. At the time, the defendant had no intention of murder. If that were true, then why did he bring a knife? He wouldn't, would he? Which means, Mr. Edgeworth, your theory was flawed from supposition 1. And one more thing. If the murderer was wearing the costume at the time of the murder, then there should be glove marks left on... Is that a thing? Glove marks? Which means the defendant's fingerprint should be on the hive. And that brings me to my final point. This knife was planted by the real killer to hide their identity and mislead us. Dunno, might be.
Order, order, I say. Order in the court. Was this knife really planted by the killer? Why would the murderer do such a thing?
I mean, to frame Matt Engarde.
Both?
Maybe? Right? I would assume this one, though. It is to frame my client, Matt Engarde, of course.
To frame.
Aren't you forcing the interpretation just a little too hard on this one? But we just established the witness saw the Nickel Samurai in costume. If that were true, there shouldn't be a single fingerprint on this knife.
Witness!
Looks like I've made your life a tiny bit more difficult, huh, Edgy Poo?
Witness, did you or did you not really see the Nickel Samurai?
Well, I guess at first I might have forgotten, but...
Are you saying you mixed up Mr. Engarde with the Nickel Samurai, his character on TV?
I mean, I can't really do anything about that now. Look, I was waiting around in front doors because, well, I wasn't waiting around for the Nickel Samurai, that's for sure.
She wasn't waiting for the Nickel Samurai? Alright then, who were you waiting around for then?
That's top secret to anyone outside of security.
I have a feeling you were waiting for Mr. Juan Corrida. Am I correct, witness?
Ha! The way you think, you're a sad amateur with a terrible case of nearsightedness.
Amateur? Me? What am I an amateur of?
Soulbag was waiting around in front of the victim's room, but it doesn't sound like she was waiting to catch a glimpse of Mr. Corrida.
Maybe. Paradox!
Maybe the old bag. Not capitalized, so she is just calling her an old bag, not her name. Maybe the old bag was waiting around for that person.
If it's who I think Mia's hinting at, instead of just telling me like a normal human being, it's certainly possible.
Miss Old Bag! You were waiting around for this person to come out of the victim's room, weren't you? Adrian, I assume? If she wasn't waiting around for Juan... Yeah, I mean, probably Adrian.
Who is this person?
This is Adrian Andrews, Mr. Engarde's manager.
But why would the defendant's manager be in the victim's room?
It seems that this is the latest rumor in circulation, Your Honor.
Oh, this is... I see. Bigfoot to marry the Queen of England. And oh my goodness, Elvis is presiding as the honorary officiant. What a world we live in.
The judge seems really into the article, if it can be called such a thing.
Then this manager with the initials AA, are you saying it's...
Adrian Andrews, without a doubt, the witness thought so as well.
Looks like you found me out. Well, that's fine. I can throw away the whole sworn confidentiality stuff then.
Witness? What in the world are you?
Watch out, Baymax. I've got a bad feeling about this. A very bad feeling. I got some information, some very secret information from a certain source. So that's why I was doing my own little investigation. In secret, of course.
But what for?
Oh, just for myself. Personal reasons and all that.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, how will you proceed from here?
I really don't want to. However, I simply cannot let this point slide.
I see. Very well, witness. Please testify about this secret information.
Get ready. It's gonna take the wind out of you youngins.
I'm sure we're all capable of handling this, really. It's not like we're 10 years old. Secret information!
That Engarde is one evil man. He thought he could ruin poor Juan by causing a huge scandal. So to do that, he sent his own manager to get in close with Juan. I cannot condone such dirty tricks, so I took action. Oh, and this is top secret. You got that? Nobody else but you and me know yet, okay?
Of course not.
The defendant sent his manager? What a distasteful topic for this court.
What? Nobody's above gossip. And isn't there a saying, the truth is never pleasant?
Never heard that one before.
Mr. Edgeworth, what about this Adrian Andrews person?
We have looked into this matter and found that the truth of the article proposes is in fact baseless gossip.
But should this be true? Then this proves the defendant did bear ill will towards the victim.
So that means I have to smash this rumor once and for all.
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Be careful, the old bag seems rather excited right now.
That's right, Engarde is nothing but an average foul-blooded youth.
Well, as the old saying goes, you've got to burn old bags with fire. That's not a... Okay. Phoenix just admitting to committing arson and killing this old woman.
Time to fire up the afterburners and hit the highway to the danger zone. I'll let that reference slide. I'm a sucker for Kenny Loggins. Engarde is an evil, evil man. You can't say something like that without proof. That's just slander.
But it's true. That woman was getting intimate with poor Juan. Look, it says so right here, doesn't it? Manager of the Stars, AA.
But the name of the magazine came from Gossip Land. What? Oh, it's a reference to the Kenny Loggins song, Danger Zone. As referenced quite often in the television show Archer. I assume Old Bag had it coming for a while now. It's true.
I suppose next you'll tell me that the news isn't 100% truth.
No comment.
Honestly, Sonny, you can't discriminate between the news and gossip.
Yes, discrimination is bad, Mr. Wright.
Discriminate? When do I do anything like that?
Top Gun soundtrack. Oh, absolutely. OG Top Gun, indeed. It was probably in the new one, too.
Anyway, Engarde will never get me to say touche.
Gotta ruin poor Juan by causing a scandal. What do you mean by that?
You're a dim-witted one, aren't you? I can't believe you don't know what a scandal is. It's a hit new television show on ABC or whatever. Honestly, what are they teaching kids in middle school these days?
No, I wasn't asking what the word scandal means. Even I know that much.
Well, that Engarde thought he could own a monopoly on popularity.
Might have been, haven't seen it. It's supposed to be very good. Top Gun Maverick, I believe. You don't have any proof that Mr. Engarde did any such thing.
You must be suffering from shock, the shock of hearing the truth. And now, since you're in so much shock, you can't do anything right.
You're right. I can't do anything. But boy, do I wish I could do something about you.
All right then, Sonny, show me what you got. Can you show me proof Engarde didn't bear any ill will towards Juan?
I don't fucking know. Have I got any... I mean... Don't think I have anything. No. Yeah, I got nothing. I don't have anything to offer.
See, just as I thought. And you were lecturing me about saying things without proof. You've just given me a free pass to say whatever I want, whenever I want, silly boy.
Oh no! She's gonna have a heated gamer moment. Me and my big mouth.
That's the way the cookie crumbles, for you anyway.
I've heard the new Top Gun's good, yeah? So what do you mean by I took action?
Like I already told you, I was lying in wait close to the crime scene. Once that slimy woman came out of Juan's room, I was gonna capture her and teach her a good lesson, something you youngins need.
You were going to teach her a good lesson?
I was gonna make her eat the damaging beams of my ray gun, like this.
No, stop!
Well, too bad the woman didn't come.
By the way, that's a toy she bought at the dollar store.
Too bad the woman didn't come through the door that night.
Top secret, nobody else knows. Wait!
What? I'm a busy woman. Tea time with kids is over.
Secret information no one else knows yet. If that's true, then why do you know this secret information?
Huh? Well, that's because I'm a pro. Yes, that's it. It's a secret. Even if you drilled a hole in my brain, you'd never find out.
All right, let's take her up on that offer. How in the world did that bat get such a secret piece of information? Didn't I just read something about the camera? Tabloid article about the victim was in the case. Okay, well, that's... think I know how you found out. So no one else is supposed to know this secret information, correct? If that's true, then why do you know it, Miss Oldbag?
Why are you looking at me like that? Stop that!
Witness! I hate to say it, but this is how you came to acquire the secret info, isn't it? Hell yeah. The investigative photographer, Lotta Hart. Oh yes, I remember that mischievous girl. She reported she lost a certain note that she had written to herself. She reported such a thing? On that piece of paper, she had written down some of her impressions. about the relationship between the victim and Miss Andrews.
What? Outrageous ideas, you say?
I said impressions. No. I said impressions.
Then, everything written on this piece of paper is completely meaningless.
Ah, that's it. That's the note.
No, you see, this is something completely different. This is my top secret list of groceries to buy.
Then you're the one who took Miss Hart's note. And camera. I imagine she'd like that $1,600 camera back.
I'm a huge fan of Juan's, that's why. That infamous puffy-haired whippersnapper. She's working with the evil Engarde, she said so herself. Engarde, I'm a sidekick. She was so happy, smiling like a silly duck. I was only checking what she had written. Edgy Poo, you believe me, don't you? I was only trying to help out like the angel I am. It's only one little piece of paper. I've never taken anything else before.
You really should have come with a supply of cheese to match your vintage wine. Damn, got her. Well, it's only a piece of paper. I suppose we can overlook this just this once. It's also a $1,600 camera. Should I forgive her? No!
If I let up on her now, she'll only get away. I have to find some way to inflict a deafening blow in the prosecution.
Witness! You said the only thing you stole was that note. Is this correct?
Stole? Why don't you listen more carefully, you annoying brat? I saved this piece of paper from a terrible, lonely trash can, that's all.
You're lying, damn it, and I can prove it. Wow, Phoenix getting hardcore.
Are you putting my credibility under scrutiny again?
Miss Oldbag, I don't believe that note is the only thing you stole that night. The camera again, right? Or did, are we gonna say she stole the guitar, now that I think about it? Do I blame her for the guitar? She's so mean. Oh yeah, she's the worst. I mean, let's assume the camera. We know it's the camera. It'd be very funny to assume she stole the guitar. Although that was apparently at the TV station, so now I think about it, that's not. That's the camera. Miss Oldbag! That note was with a camera inside its case, wasn't it? A camera? Yesterday, Lotta Hart was raising a huge stink over her camera. She kept saying something like, "My sweetie $1,600 camera disappeared on me." Why, witness!
What is it, Gramps?
If you have the note, then it's only logical you have the camera too.
Looks like you found me out again, Sonny. Is this the camera that you're looking for?
That's...
Why? Even though I look like it, I'm still a person, you know. I still eat meals like you. I fall in love and borrow things from people.
I think your definition of borrow is a little off.
I saw the woman's business card. That's why I noticed it said, Slime Bag Celebrity Photographer Extraordinaire.
Or... Spay.
Well, when I saw that, I had to know what sort of picture she had taken. A professional security guard. It's my business to know these things.
No, it's not. Bailiff! Check this camera's photos. Hurry! We must examine them at once! Oh my, there's rather a lot of nudes. I think we can scroll past these. I really... in future, I should be more careful and discreet. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you have? There's only one photo that seems to be relevant to the case. Please present it to the court. Well... that is certainly something. Gotta say, the pants don't look like they fit, which I feel like was a thing in the last time this happened, too. This is the Nickel Samurai!
See, I told you, that's the guy I saw.
This proves the witness was not lying earlier about this matter. Well, what does it all mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The photo by itself does not prove the person is the defendant. However, in his own confession, Mr. Engarde clearly stated that, at the time of the murder, he was still in his Nickel Samurai costume. If that's the case, then this Nickel Samurai... the defendant... well, hell. How did it come to this? I think this brings us to the end. We've examined every piece of evidence thoroughly. Not the guitar case, Your Honor. Final comments, Mr. Wright. Also, the scarf is still the murder weapon. The court will consider them before we close. Do you agree that this photo is decisive evidence against your client? I mean, I can't, right? This photo is really decisive evidence we're done for. If I raise an objection here and blow it, I'd put Maya's life in jeopardy. I can't make a mistake here. There's only one road out of this mess. This photo that Lotta took. I mean, the pants are pretty, like, I don't know, around the leg it looks like they're ruffled quite a bit. Wait, hold on. Okay, no, I think that is him coming out of Corita's room. I thought for a second it might be him coming out of his own room. There's something strange with this photo, I think. Your thoughts, Mr. Edgeworth? Yeah, no, he's coming out of Corita's room. You can tell because there's teddy bears involved. I think we can all agree there's nothing strange with this photo. There's no way for the defense to debunk this, even with a bunker buster. Debunk with a bunker buster? Is that what you're planning on doing, Mr. Wright? Anyway, please look at this photo one more time. If you really believe you can honestly find something wrong with this photo, then you should only need one chance, correct? Well, I have to find something wrong with this photo. I can't let this chance go by. Where in the heck did you take this photo from, anyway? It's all out of focus. Why can't you take a good shot, especially when it counts? Now then, let's hear your objection. What is strange about this photo? I mean, it does seem like he's leaving Corita's room based on, you know, the flowers and the bears and everything. That was all outside Corita's room. Excuse me. Engarde merely had the wreaths, but I would say dragging the leg? Oh god, that's my whole bar again. Jesus Christ. Good thing I saved. The legs? I would like to direct the court's attention on this one to this area right here. Where are you pointing to? His ankles? If you could see this person's ankles, that would be one thing. However, you can't. So how does it look in the, Oh, yeah, wow. That's actually noticeably, Yeah, all right, fair enough. It's not just designed to be, like, kind of low cut or anything. This is pretty apparent. Ahem. And what does that mean? The costume person in this photo could not have been Mr. Engarde. What is the meaning of this? I wonder if you would care to elaborate with actual facts, that is. Let's take a look at the Little Samurai's poster. Please pay particular attention to the area around the bottom of the hakama. His socks? You can see his socks. Exactly. However, in this photo, Little Samurai is clearly holding his hakama up just to walk. I don't know about that, but it's definitely dragging on the ground. There's only one explanation for this. The person inside this costume is clearly much shorter than the defendant. All right. I think I've turned things around for myself this time. That's curious. Huh? What? Edward's unusually calm today. That's true. He's just letting the trial run itself, as if he's only along for the ride. Along for the ride? What do you mean by that? Are we going somewhere in the judge's car? I can only guess that perhaps he doesn't feel under attack at all. Doesn't feel under attack? Then I haven't damaged his case at all? Mr. Edgeworth, where does this leave us? If the person in this photo is not Matt Engarde, then everything the prosecution is trying to prove has become meaningless. I figured it would come to this. What? Right. I have to ask something of you. I think you have proven the person inside this costume is not Matt Engarde.
Oh, good.
In that case, who is this a photo of? Well, now we come to it, don't we? Who's the person wearing the nickel samurai costume? Don't stress out over this, Phoenix. It's very simple. What you should be focused on is Edward's attitude, don't you think?
Yeah. Why is he so calm?
Mr. Wright, let's hear your thoughts. Who is the person in this photograph? Pearl Fay, Your Honor! Lock her up, boys! I suppose it would have to be Adrian Andrews, yeah? That's where we're going with this? Adrian Andrews? If you want to know who the Nickel Samurai is, it's none other than this woman. And why would you say it must be Miss Andrews? What in the world points to her? For starters, she's short. Oh, like my wife.
And she can freely move in and out of Mr. Edgeworth's room. Also like my wife.
Finally, she had dinner with Mr. Engarde that night. I mean, maybe my wife? I wasn't really, I was busy working security with Old Bag. And how does all that add up?
It means it makes it very easy for her to get a certain item. A certain knife with Mr. Engarde's fingerprints all over it.
The knife that was used as the murder weapon! No, it wasn't. It wasn't the fucking murder weapon. Why don't you just say what it is you want, Wright?
I have to do this now. This is my last chance to turn things around.
The defense moves to indict Miss Adrian Andrews in the murder of Juan Corrida. It was Miss Andrews who tried to frame the defendant for the crime. Order, order, order! It looks like the trial is in a most unexpected development. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. This court is issuing a subpoena for Miss Adrian Andrews. A verdict cannot be passed without first hearing her testimony.
All right, this is it.
This is kind of bad for us.
Huh? What do you mean?
If Adrian Andrews is summoned to court as a witness, it means the trial will go on for another day.
One more day. Ah! If I don't get a verdict today, then Maya.
You know, I feel like that's a harsh restriction, the one day for this. I mean, really. Now then, we shall set Miss Andrews' testimony for tomorrow.
What am I supposed to do? The judge is about to adjourn the court.
Now then. Please, Your Honor, continue the trial. You must pass a verdict today. I can't do that. We cannot hear Miss Andrews' testimony if she is not... Cut to Old Bag there. I abhor wasting such valuable time.
Edgeworth?
Your Honor, I request you please continue with today's trial. But we cannot continue due to this unexpected development. Tisk, tisk. Unexpected development? I think you underestimate me, Your Honor. What do you mean by that? Mr. Phoenix Wright would slave his way to subpoenaing Miss Andrews is all happening according to plan, even if Wright was a bit slow to catch on. What? What is the meaning of your statement, Mr. Edgeworth? Miss Adrian Andrews is currently waiting in the prosecution lobby. She is the next witness.
What? Everything was planned out in advance by that man?
Clever boy, Edgeworth.
Does he know? Seems like it.
Somehow, I knew there was no way Edgeworth would overlook Miss Andrews. Looks like this battle is far from over. Exactly. Very well. We will call the next witness. However, before we proceed, we should take a 10-minute recess. Please prepare your witness in that time, Mr. Edgeworth. The court will now take a 10-minute recess. To be continued. Good lord. Next achievement is... There are 2 achievements left in this case, which will ultimately end this particular game. Although I don't think we'll get to them today. This trial is very long. How many more breaks do we have? Yeah, we're currently in part 2, too. This goes all the way to 4-2.
And we have 90 minutes left, so we'll see. Dude, I can't believe that Andrew, no way, not coolly collected Adrian Andrews. She's your manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony during the break, huh? I was sleeping like a log the entire time. Harsh or not, you aren't the one with the bargaining chip of having Maya locked in your dungeon. It's true. Save seems like you might have pressed no. Ah, well, doesn't really matter. There you go. Easy enough. Back from lunch, what'd you miss? We've indicted Adrian Andrews, the woman you see on screen, in the murder. Who's dead? Who did it? Have we used the seasoning yet? There's no seasoning. There is a glass of tomato juice, but there is no seasoning. In terms of dead and who did it, still this man dead. He's been accused. We're indicting her. See, she could have also easily planted the blood-covered button on your Hakama. Because she was the one that came to wake me up? Then, dude, you're saying it really was her? Yes, she's the real killer. The one who murdered Juan Corrida. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see by the time this trial's over. It'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of today. Get me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze, okay, Mr. Lawyer, dude? Binox. You think her motive is related to Celeste Impact's missing suicide note, right? Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impacts as her strength and reason to live. Such a weird face he's pulling. Dark photo, but he's really like, meh. Also, whatever he's got in his mouth on this angle doesn't look as stupid as it does in his actual profile, where it's like a green crazy straw or whatever. I wonder if it was censored. I wonder if it was meant to be like a cigarella or something. But then Miss Impact suddenly killed herself. Sounds like she left a suicide note, and the person thought to have hidden it is Juan Corrida, the victim of this murder. And that's why I think Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Corrida. All to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. What? Who was it that first told us about their relationship? Edgeworth? Better stated, Miss Andrews' dependency issues with regards to Miss Impacts. It was Edgeworth. Looks like he's still the one in command of this ship. Please, Mia, when it comes to the ship with Edgeworth, he's always been in command, if you know what I mean. Don't let your guard down. I'm saying he's on top. Court will now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please. The prosecution calls witness subpoenaed by this court, Miss Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Juan Corrida's room. What is your occupation? I am the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt Engarde. I see! Now then! Before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Yes, sure. What is it? I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing, and would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. No. I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossipland. If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relationship with the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Corrida. I was also aware of his rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan. But that was a private matter between Juan and myself. So it was a fry and bait matter, or is that a bait and fry matter? Reminds me of fishing. Bailiff, the judge is having a stroke. Can we, have him swapped out with literally anyone else? But I did not kill him. No one is accusing you of that. I think there's someone who would beg to differ. Well.
I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews. Very well then, witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place.
Alright, when I found the body. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room. And there was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was, naturally, the exact scene as in the crime photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a... Really? You did that after the... Okay.
You poured yourself a glass of juice.
Yes. Sadly, I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of the crime.
I would have said I brought it with me, and then I placed it down out of shock.
And I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing.
Then that is when the fingerprints were on the wine glass were made, Your Honor. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. By an axe. She is one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match.
Yes, I know.
In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing.
Disrupt her pacing?
She's the type of woman that's easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking. So you have to attack her when she least expects it.
Got it. Punch her in the cooch!
The instant you let up on this offense is the instant this trial is over. Understand?
Alright.
Time for the show to start and went to get Matt from his room.
And what was Mr. Engarde doing at that time? He was taking a nap.
Sleeping on the clockwork arm, I'm noticing. Probably not comfy.
He was worn out from his many performances as the Nickel Samurai during the ceremony. Mr. Engarde did say he was taking a nap. Then I guess you could say it could not have been taken out of his room, yes? Excuse me? It? What are you?
Right, I thought years of school would have taught you how to construct a sentence. If you can't make a sensible sentence with a subject, then I'll make one for you. Watch. Did you, Miss Andrews, remove Mr. Engarde's knife from his room?
No.
Subject, verb, object, right? Did you skip basic grammar? The witness may continue. The number of fucking times the pronoun game's been played with me and I'm the one that gets scolded for it. Outrageous.
And why did you do that?
Yes.
As a friendly gesture, Juan was making an appearance with the other heroes. So the show is supposed to be a show of friendship, huh?
I suppose press further.
Is that the only reason? I beg your pardon. What are you implying? You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to him, correct? So perhaps you had a more personal matter to discuss with the victim? Sorry, but I didn't have any such intentions in mind at the time. I can't get her to talk without a strong piece of evidence, I guess.
May we continue now? Witness, what did you see when you got into his room? Buddy, I was in shock.
Ugh. You were in shock? What? Was I not supposed to be? Miss Andrews is a very calculating person. And despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Corito.
Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock. And you can't seriously expect the young beauty like her would not be shocked. I don't see what that has to do with it, but okay. Somehow I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. Yeah, I gotta agree with Edgeworth. I see! Exact same as in the photo.
This is the photo you're referring to, correct?
So, yeah, I have an issue with the guitar.
Yes, the one with the knife lodged in the chest. And the guitar case was like this, too? Yes, it was open and empty, of course.
And then what did you do next, witness? But the thing is... There's water on top of the case, and only on top of the case. And let's double check it real quick. There's Corita's fingertips. There was water, but only on the top of the lid. Meaning someone opened it after the struggle. It couldn't have been Juan, because he was dead, assumedly. An argument could be made that it was the attacker. Or I could make the argument here that Andrews just did it. Felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice.
Juice?
Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? If there were no lip marks left on the wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it. Miss Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan Corrida, you were in great shock. And that's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time.
Your mind was a complete blank?
I didn't think that was possible for you. Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed I made one careless mistake. That one thing.
What one thing?
Never mind. It's no big deal. What was she starting to say just now?
Obviously, press further.
Miss Andrews! I'm convinced that you said that you said you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what the mistake was! Actually, so would I. I'm sorry, it's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked over the flower vase. What?
First of all, looking a bit sassy there with the hand on your hip. Secondly, you're the one who knocked that over? Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime photo?
Huh.
The mess of glass shards? Well, that's contradiction for the guitar case.
Yes, it was originally on top of the dresser.
Did you now, Adrian?
Yep. But I bumped into it with my elbow. It fell onto the guitar case.
But why did you withhold such an important piece of information?
I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess.
Looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Add this and anything else you have to reveal to your testimony.
I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else.
Is that so? So we knocked over the flower vase. What kind of flower vase was it?
It was, glass, I see. It was a glass vase, and it was fairly big and heavy.
I thought he meant like, did he get it at Marshall's, or was it more of a Kohl's model? Was it sort of hourglass shaped, or was it more of a simple cylinder?
Just didn't really know where he was going with this. I thought I would try to take Juan's pulse. So I set the glass I was holding on the dresser, and that's when my elbow accidentally hit the vase.
Was it shut up! It was an urn, not a vase.
That's odd. I thought she was always in total control of herself.
That's what she likes people to think. Always be mindful of the gap in between your perception and reality.
Doesn't sound like there's any glaring contradictions. Yeah, there are actually, but, whatever.
Hop to it, I guess.
The guitar. You testified you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct? Yes. And you're sure it fell onto the guitar case? Is there some problem with what I said? It's not some problem. It's a major problem. It's true the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly why it's so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, if that was true, the case would have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside.
That's very true.
Furthermore, there is one strange thing about the guitar case.
And what is that?
Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor.
And what's wrong with that?
None of them are in the case. If the guitar case is open and the vase fell, the glass shard should be inside, not outside the case. Well, I mean, if it didn't land.
Kind of depends on where it landed, Phoenix.
I thought you were going to say only Corrida's fingerprints are on it. So, where are yours, Miss Andrews? Is it because you happen to be wearing gloves while you're dressed as the Steel Samurai?
What is your point, Wright?
The case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over. Is that all?
No. Think back to what Miss Andrews testified to.
She said there in the vase she didn't touch anything else. Yes, that's right. She did implicitly say she didn't touch the guitar case. But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all.
That may very well be. However, the empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case, doesn't it?
It seems there is no deeper meaning to the guitar case.
It's seasoning.
I swear. Arg said it probably doesn't.
We definitely need to hear more.
Arg promised me it doesn't, but oh god. Oh god, if it has any sort of seasoning, I'm going to throw this whole console out the window. The empty guitar case. I believe it's a crucial piece of the puzzle! Huh! I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this, but it is you.
I can't believe I'm doing this either.
All right, I'll follow along for now. Miss Andrews, please testify the court about the guitar case.
Yes, Your Honor.
The guitar case.
I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know.
Riveting stuff. I said as far as I remember, seasoning has no bearing on the case, never promised. God damn it. Oh god, it's all gonna be seasoning, isn't it? It looks like this really wasn't a very important point. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling that by now it's almost comforting. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using any way to change the topic. A convenient escape for a weak man. Don't remember too clearly because I was dazed.
During your testimony now, did you remember the events clearly in your mind? Well, you see,
Are you sure you're the one who opened the guitar case? She's waiting for someone to tell her if she should answer or not.
Sounds like a dependent side is taking over.
Well, Miss Andrews?
Yes, it was me.
Suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. So you opened the guitar case then?
Yes. Well, maybe.
Why did you open the guitar case?
Huh?
Miss Croydon's dead body was right in front of you, wasn't it?
I would think that the first thing you would do is call for help, not open a guitar case.
As the witnesses said multiple times when she found the dead body, she was dazed.
Maybe I was curious to know if the bright red guitar was all right or not. I thought maybe the criminal took it.
Why would she care about the bright red guitar?
But getting back to the topic.
It's not a big deal, it was empty.
Was it really empty? I was just wondering if maybe when you opened the case, the guitar was still inside.
How long have you been a lawyer, Mr. Wright? Have a little professionalism. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. This trial would be over in half the time if you would just pay attention. Yes, pay more attention, Mr. Wright.
Sorry.
Okay. Don't press that one.
Was that because you were shocked and dazed at discovering the victim's body? Yes, that's probably it.
I'm not going to get anywhere if I continue pressing her like this. The only way to make her talk is with evidence. I guess I should give it a try. Come on, bite X. We can't afford to let up on her now. I wasn't planning on letting up, but she's at her weakest, so this is our chance. Yeah, if we had a weapon to hit her with. I'm sure a weapon is hiding somewhere in the court record, waiting to be found.
Don't remember too clearly, a bit dazed. Must open the guitar case after I knocked the vase over.
Right. Case was empty. So there's nothing to press here.
There's Kurita's fingerprints. Crime photo. Where's Von Karma? She got shot. Yeah, no kidding. She got shot. So what she's saying is, the order of events is, she walked in, saw Kurita dead, in shock to calm her nerves, poured herself a nice tall glass of tomato juice for some reason. Set it down on the table. It occurred to her then I should check his pulse. Set it on the table, went to check the pulse, knocked the vase over, and then opened the guitar case for some reason. She's weak to guns. Yes. Yes, she is. Strong against whips, weak against guns. Dazed, I opened the card case after I knocked the vase over. Look at the photo. Is there anything wrong with that? Knocked over the vase. Open the case after you knocked the vase over. I mean, that tracks, right? Not a big deal. The case was empty after all. So why open the case? Even I don't know. I don't know what the game wants. I feel like that's the statement. The after I knocked the vase over. What does Mia tell me? Can't afford to let up now. Got a weakest. Had a weapon. I'm sure a weapon is hiding somewhere in the courtroom, waiting to be found. Is that a hint that it's the knife? Dazed. Open the guitar case after I hit base. Case is empty. Why I opened the case, I don't know. Didn't the guitar case say it bears Kurita's fingerprints if she opened it? Oh. Yeah, I actually brought that up earlier. It's like your fingerprints should be on it, but they're not, almost as if you were wearing gloves. I guess, yeah. After I knocked the vase over. So her fingerprints wouldn't have simply washed away, would they? Good call, good call. That is what it is. I brought that up earlier and then forgot. Unbelievable. There's no way you were the one who opened the guitar case! Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are those of the victim. Ah. Almost like she would have had to have been wearing gloves that the Steel Samurai or the fucking Nickel Samurai or whatever wears. What is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume I must have left prints because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you I was wearing gloves at the time? Is it because you were dressed like the Nickel Samurai? Gloves? Why would you be wearing gloves at the time? It was the night of the award ceremony. So of course I dressed up for the occasion. Oh. Crap. That tracks. Yes, now I remember. Oh wait, then how'd they get on the fucking glass? Hold on. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems the witness is wearing gloves at the scene of the crime. Nothing strange about that. You were wearing gloves. Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that will prove I was not wearing gloves at the time? Yeah, the glass. What do we... I have your proof right here. This wine glass. The wine glass. You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange that you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Wow. Just had those back up, huh? All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Order, order! Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. What do you mean? I believe the guitar case plays a very important role here. But it's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was empty, though. But the guitar, the bright red guitar, was at the studio. Phoenix, drop all of your presumptions. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar. You don't mean it was a ukulele? Oh, for God's sakes! He made an even worse joke. It was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either. I was gonna say a ukulele. He made an even worse goddamn joke. I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So the witness was not wearing gloves, despite the fact that on the case. Your Honor, this is obviously the defendant's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lull us all into his misguided. No, Your Honor. Please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it was wide open in the photo of the crime scene. I am sure this guitar case has relation to the murder. If you're so sure of Wright, then I'm sure you can somehow sustain your outrageous claims. Please enlighten us as to why the guitar case has anything to do with this at all with this murder. Can you do that, Mr. Wright? Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in that case. The bright red guitar was not being the only thing. You don't mean to suggest a bright black guitar was in the... So you intend to push your theory the case was not empty, is that right? I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours, you haven't proven anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside the case at the time of the murder? Okay, it probably wasn't any of this crap. Probably no. No. Certainly wasn't the case itself. No. It could have been the note, I guess, but that seems like a weird thing to bring in a guitar case. Why not a suitcase or something? No. He was smuggling Pearl! No. I mean, literally the only thing it could possibly be is this, right? Her suicide note? Yeah. Just, that's literally all it could be. And why would something like that be inside a guitar case, let alone this one? Why, Mr. Wright? Why? Well, I just thought it might have been possible. I have a suggestion. Why don't you put that in the void where your brain is supposed to be? Oh, come on! And never bring it out again. Can a foolish fool get some love? What was in the guitar case? I thought it would be like the suicide note. What would it be? Wouldn't be the camera. It's not seasoning. There's no seasoning could possibly be. I don't know. Maybe I present her? I mean, I don't think he was smuggling her dead body or anything, but, you know, maybe I present her to get to her suicide note. Something that, if that's the case, this absolutely should have brought up. Maybe it's this. I don't know. Let's try her, I guess?
No. I'll try the other note, and then I'm going to look it up, because I have no idea what it could be if it's not those two notes. Yeah, I'm taking hits here, but... This one. Nope. God damn it. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I somehow get the sense I'm going to be annoyed by this. What? I mean, obviously. This is a photograph! Yes, what's important is what is in that picture, Your Honor. I feel as though we've done this before. In the picture? It doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What? He always does that. What I'm proposing is... Inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume. Yes, one had a Nickel Samurai costume in his case. For some reason that I was supposed to know by now. What? Is he the Nickel Samurai? No, he's the Jammin' Ninja. Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Right, are you saying the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be to try and do something like that? The insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. And Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? So Old Bag saw Andrews, yeah. So I assumed what was happening was, and hear me out here if this seems like a leap in logic, Mad Engarde, the Nickel Samurai, sure, he was taking a nap in his costume. Maybe, just maybe, there's a spare costume brought with him. You know, in case something happened to the first one. Adrian puts that on, goes over, kills him, makes it look like Matt did it, and then leaves. No, apparently what happened is she went over, killed him, found him dead, whatever, knew the costume was in the guitar case, put it on, and then just peaced out. Yeah, I hadn't come to that conclusion, nor would I ever have. I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Just be better next time, truly, yes. Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get this shot, correct? Yeah, also, multiple people saw her leaving, but no one saw her going into the room. I mean, I guess they didn't see this character going into the room either, but also, how did they all miss her going into the room? You mean this photo? Order! Order! It looks like we've wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we? Nice job, Benax. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later. So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume. Wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai costume would have been Matt Engarde's. Why would something of that be in the defendant's be in the victim's room, and inside the guitar case of all places? True. That is a little baffling. That's insane, what you're proposing. Now, the more I think about it, the more stupid it is, right? What the fuck? Mr. Wright, the court and the player would like to hear your thoughts. God damn it! I don't know! Hey, listen, I'm always wrong, so let's go for the outrageous, huh? I think it may have been stolen from Matt Engarde. Stolen? But why would someone do such a thing? Maybe the thief wanted to interfere with the post-ceremony stage show. And so, if he didn't have his costume, Mr. Engarde would be forced to go naked. Maybe you should have been stripped naked and run out for making a mockery of this court. Excuse me? Mr. Matt Engarde did not take his costume off after the awards ceremony. He even testified that he took a nap while still wearing his costume. Is this not correct? Yeah, he did say something like that, didn't he? Mr. Engarde did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we were talking about was a spare one. What? Then, are you saying on the night of the murder, there were 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel? Yes, that is what I am saying. And how do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case? It would mean the victim himself had brought this spare to the ceremony on purpose. Yeah, it would have to mean that. But why? The victim, Mr. Kurita, was the German ninja. Why would he secretly bring the Nickel Samurai's spare costume with him? And how would Adrian possibly know that he did that? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act? And therein lies the sticking point. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without a sense of inner monologue? Huh? No, I just... Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Why do you think the Nickel Samurai had the... Why do you think the victim had the spare Nickel Samurai costume? Baynax, I'm sure I can explain this one. No, I can't! Think carefully before you answer. And then answer with gusto. I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai spare costume to the hotel was... Fuck me. Oh boy. Oh wait, could it be this? Because Matt didn't know about it, but the Nickel Samurai was going to confess something. Yeah! What is this? On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference. A press conference? Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up, right? But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Engarde himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night. But how can that be? The way I say it, that can mean only one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Kurita himself. The victim? Yes. A spare Nickel Samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Kurita was going to hold the press conference as the Nickel Samurai. And everyone would have known it was him, I guess. Matt definitely would have been like, what the fuck's going on? He was going to dress up as the Nickel Samurai and hold a conference. But why would the victim do such a thing? That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I am concerned with is what he intended to reveal at that conference. The Nickel Samurai was going to confess something, and by confess, I'd wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means Juan Kurita, posing as the Nickel Samurai, was going to speak about Matt Engarde! Yes, I guess that is what it would mean. But if that's the case, that's not a confession, that's public disclosure. Where's Old Bag? Hell, hopefully. Miss Andrews! I can see why you are pros at what you do. Pardon me. No one's ever called me that before. Yes, just as you say. The press conference was set up by Juan. Bump the microphone with my ring. Nobody panic. Miss Andrews, please offer an explanation for this. I was the one he asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me. You? Juan had bet everything on the Jammin' Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix,
He was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. Seems harsh! That's what he thought, anyway.
He was going to ruin him,
It looked like somehow Juan had his hands on a secret so powerful, it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed.
What? That's unfortunate. And do you know what this secret of Mr. Engarde's is, Miss Andrews?
That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is.
Ah, I see.
I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone. But that's to be expected.
Samurai was actually made of zinc. Oh my god. The cubic zirconium samurai.
I've been trying to protect Matt after all.
Protect Matt Engarde? And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us the truth about your behavior.
Yes, Your Honor. I understand. The Jammin' Ninja was actually a Jelly Ninja. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. He didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt I had to protect him.
This does account for everything, does it?
Well, I am the logical type.
We're finally seeing her true self. She's more nervous than a scared rabbit. If the defense can find no fault with this testimony, I'm ready to make a ruling. Please keep that in mind as you cross-examine Mr. Wright.
Looks like somehow everything is swung in the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down.
Oh dear.
Alrighty then. When I saw the crime scene, Matt was the murderer. Would you say that your intuition was speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. Erg. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things.
3 things?
You know you don't. Motive, opportunity to commit, and finally decisive evidence.
You don't need a motive. If they have you on video camera stabbing a man, and then turning directly to the camera and going, I did this for no reason, then they don't have a motive. It's not like they're gonna have to let you go because you don't have a motive. Hard evidence is all you need.
Silk cloak and white roses.
Hey, at least it's not seasoning.
And if you think these three things through, the answer becomes quite clear.
You should have already known that, Binox.
They didn't teach us that in school, at least not from what I remember. May I continue? I had to kill Juan no matter what. So would you say this need came from the press conference? Yes. Do you know why Juan chose that event and that hotel for the conference? Because that was when he could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Matt Engarde.
And you knew of this plan, didn't you, Miss Andrews?
Yes, because I was the one who set up the conference and prepared the costume. But I'm sure Mr. Engarde himself didn't know anything about the press conference. Oh, really? Can you show me any proof they didn't know about the press conference?
Anyway, the important thing here is that this information was not in your testimony. Yes, I agree, Miss Andrews. Please correct your testimony, if you please.
Grasping at straws now, are we, Mr. Wright? I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right. Has Mr. Engarde done something to hurt or betray you personally? Why do you ask?
You were the one who helped Mr. Corrida with his press conference.
And that event was supposed to bring down Mr. Engarde, yet you still helped him. Person on trial right now is Master Engarde, Mr. Wright. What the witness was thinking helping the victim with his plan is none of our concern. In any case, this means the defendant had a motive to kill. Why do I keep doing this to myself? He didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. But didn't you already testify earlier that Engarde was taking a nap in his room? Are you telling me now that that too was a lie so you could cover for him? I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. However, as to whether he was sleeping the entire time, that I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at the time.
I keep trying, but I can find no flaws in what Miss Andrews has said. I can't say the same.
Fucking goddamn, I gotta... Outrageous. It's where I put my feet. It's so annoying. I can't say the same for some people here in this courtroom. The judge is glaring strictly at Mia. He's glaring at you, smart guy. I think he's glaring at you, Mia. Thoughts are confirmed by the evidence, of course. The button and the knife. You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage. Then what about the button? The button. It's clear from the crime scene the victim and his murderer fought. And during the fight, the killer ripped the button off the Jamma Ninja's costume. You're talking about this button, correct? That button was found in the pleats of Matsukama, isn't that correct? You know, the knife is awfully close to the button. Or where the button should be. Could the knife have been inserted there after the button had been removed? No, there's blood on the button, so they stabbed above the button and just dribbled down onto it. Looks like an egg. I suppose it does. I would think that makes it very decisive evidence. Erg. Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright, you stupid little bitch. Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. Thank goodness Mia can still look at me. With an icy stare, yes. Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, add this information to your testimony. What was torn off one? Jesus Christ, during his fight with Matt. It was a long testimony. And how do you know that? When the ends of the thread, the button, and the costume were matched up, they were found to fit together perfectly, or so I heard. I've heard that before, too. What did Miss Andrews know about this case down to such a fine detail? Don't look at me like that, just because I'm prepared and you're not. Erg. And I thought I had her this time for sure. So anything to trip her up on, it has to be here. But where and what? But what did you... What did I just stab the guy in the back? And it was the worst time possible. Who's to say she really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it? This witness could have disclosed things about Mr. Engarde at any time. Why then would she wait until there was a large audience before doing so? It's the same reason why Miss Corita planned such an elaborate conference. Miss Andrews wanted to cause damage to Mr. Engarde as much as he possibly could. This witness bears ill will towards my defendant. And this isn't the Phoenix Wright Wax Philosophical Power Hour. I would watch that. And please stop slandering the witness. As expected, Miss Andrews' testimony seems pretty solid. Well, because to me it sounds a little wishy-washy. Wishy-washy? Well, I guess we'll see if I press it no more. You should know this by now, but you'll need decisive evidence to make it. Got it, Chief. I'm gonna pin you down this time, Miss Andrews. Oh dear. Feeling Matt was the murderer. Didn't have the proof. Didn't have an alibi. Did he not? I suppose he didn't, did he? No, I don't think he did. 8:15, no. What was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt? I had to protect him. So, hear me out. I know I keep coming back to this because I think it's important. For some reason, the game doesn't. But the man was choked with a scarf, right? So the idea here is, because there's blood on it, it would have had to have happened. Hear me out. Wishy-washy Gen 7 confirmed. If she was protecting Matt, why would she set up a confession conference session? We tried to ask about that, and Edward said that's not important. Shut up. So, the button has blood on it, meaning he would have had to have been stabbed. But he was stabbed after he was strangled. So, it couldn't have been removed until after he was stabbed, which was after he was strangled. Strangled with a scarf, then stabbed with a knife. Yeah. Right?
Like, I'm not crazy, but that makes the most sense, right? He was strangled with the scarf, then stabbed, then the button would have been removed. He wouldn't be fighting at that point. What does the button say? Ripped from his costume. Makes sense. I'm gonna be, and it's not gonna work. You know it's gonna be like, Mr. Wright, please only present things that pertain to the matter at hand. But to me, this makes the most sense. Oh! This is the victim's autopsy report. Oh my god, finally? Is it time? Are we finally gonna point out the knife wasn't the fucking murder weapon and we shouldn't be using it as any sort of reference? It clearly states the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf, which is something I've been shouting for the last 2 hours, but no one seemed to hear me as they kept talking about how the knife was the murder weapon. Strangulation? The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died, making it not the murder. And what does that mean? Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean it was ripped off of his costume. When? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly, which means it's impossible this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle, because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. That's right, Miss Andrews. There is no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off the victim's already dead body! Order! Order! What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? I love when the prosecutors object over the judge to ask the question he was already asking. So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did it serve? What purpose? We know this button was not torn off during the fight, so the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this off of the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it? Mr. Wright, does this mean you know who the murderer wanted, what the murderer wanted to do with the button? What was it? Have a memento. To pin the crime on Engarde and to destroy evidence. To pin the crime on Engarde, obviously. If I had more of a meter, I'd have said to have a memento. There's only one memento of the crime, if I had more meter. There's only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was pin the crime on Mr. Engarde. There is no way anyone would pull a bloodied button put a bloodied button in their own pants. Not unless they're into some real freak shit, Your Honor. That's right, Mr. Engarde was set up by the real killer, of course. And the real murderer is? Well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real killer then? Finally. I can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point. Binox, you can't let your guard down yet. Not until the very end. The real killer, the person who planned to frame Mr. Engarde is... I'm the one saying that shit. The real killer, the person who planned to frame Mr. Engarde is... Adrian Andrews! Miss Adrian Andrews, I choose you! Adrian Andrews, confirmed for Gen 9 of Pokemon. You are Mr. Kurita's killer! What? Order! 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 Mr. Wright! This is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge? Any evidence? All of the evidence points to Miss Andrews. How preposterous. You can't stick any of this on me. I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. Engarde, naturally. A knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you. Ooh, that's a good point. She's the only one who would have known which knife wasn't hers. Then, what about the button that was found in Matsukama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he had died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found the body or the killer. However, if Mr. Engarde was the real killer, There is no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own Akama! Got him. Her special ability is being a bottom and having lots of glasses. The only person who could have put this button in Mr. Engarde's Akama is the person who went to wake him up from his nap. Which is you yet again, Miss Andrews! I see! What about the empty guitar case? That is also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. Oh, damn. Look at her go, putting that on. And yeah, now at this angle, the knife is clearly in him after the... It's right where the button should be. Like, the button would have had to have been removed already for the knife to go... Whatever. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the scene of the crime. Now, who could have known that there was just such a costume inside the guitar case? It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews. No, But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were not found to be on the guitar case. And it was you who proved she was not wearing gloves at the time. That's right! I guess that means Matt is guilty. That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposely left her fingerprints on the glass to show that, yes, indeed, she was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. And to top it off, there is this photo. A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth can believe the Nickel Samurai is Mr. Engarde. How would he be too... He would be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking of how tall people are, 6'6", by the way. Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, like my wife. Token's wife, I mean. Are you not? Please, stop. Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? I've got her this time. Miss Andrews. I don't think you can. I refuse to testify. Wait. There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if I can incriminate me. Yeah, the Fifth Amendment. I don't know if Japan has that, so I don't know what they said in the original one here, but she's not wrong. Fifth Amendment. Well, yes. According to the wiki, she's 1 inch shorter than you. Oh, wow. She's super short. You are absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination. By allowing a witness to not testify, the testimony can cause damage to themselves. What? Shouldn't you know that? Pleading the Fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. I think it is, actually. Actually, thinking back on yesterday in Mr. Engarde's room. Oh God, her voice. Adrian Andrews. Yes? Think hard about what we just discussed. Understood. All right. You can do that? Yes, you can. Yeah, pretty much. At least in the United States, I imagine there's a similar protection in other countries. I don't know if Japan has one. But in the United States, the Fifth Amendment, top 5, baby, provides you... Shut up. Provides you protection so that you do not have to testify if your testimony would incriminate you. It's suspicious as hell, but it is a protection. That's it. That's when Francesca planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews not to testify if things look bad. Yeah, good job proving everything up to this point, by next. But there's still one thing you haven't done. Something I haven't done? What's wrong, Wright? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence? What is so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proved up until this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Explain to me how everything I said is circumstantial and that Matt did it in any conceivable notion. What, Matt just had an extra big costume? That's the photo? Huh? The guitar case, which her testimony relies in, magically didn't get wet, but the top did? Huh? Circumstantial evidence? Yeah, I don't believe it.
You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof. I admit none of what I've said is definitive by itself. Together, I think it's pretty definitive. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Corita. Oh, that. Yeah, that I got. Together, mildly definitive. Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Corita? There's a right answer and a wrong answer for you here, Andrew. I believe this may lead to incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering. But Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think? I don't think the judge can say that. I think when you plead the fifth, you're supposed to, like, not use the fact that they're pleading the fifth against them. Maybe so or maybe not. There's nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No! She's taking that defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do? Somehow, we've landed in the worst possible situation. I think we've reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Andrews has refused to testify, and the defendant's theory that she's the actual murderer has not been fully sustained with solid definitive proof. But that's not true! In this situation, there is only one thing this court can do, and that is declare a recess. Recess? I request both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter at tomorrow's trial. Tomorrow? We don't have a tomorrow. If we don't get a not guilty verdict today, then... Please wait, Your Honor! That's not necessary! This trial! Please continue the trial! What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it! This isn't about that! Nathan, showing up just in time for me to yell at you. Need the day off tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's my birthday! I don't want to be working that day! Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then my, thought your birthday was August 15th. Nope! Although it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is... It is not impossible for this trial to continue. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you... It is true Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation was something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony. Yes, that is very true, but... Actually, there is one little thing I'm curious about. Miss Andrews. When you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and? I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they're shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice. So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want you to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like to hear you testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I would like to request the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. I don't know what this is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off of him. Is he a friend or a foe? I just don't know. The court acknowledges the prosecution's request, Miss Andrews, if you please. That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw the messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. I saw him sitting like that. The thought he was dead didn't cross my mind. God fucking damn it. I have a glass over here with some utensils in it that I have kicked over 3 times. I'm gonna fucking saw my foot off in game. Outrageous. I gotta get that glass and those utensils out of this goddamn room so I can never touch it again. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something. I went to pour him some juice. When I realized he was dead, that's when I knocked over the flowers. Pearl's bosom seems outrageously large today. It does. That was you. I thought I was going insane trying to figure out what was making that noise. Yeah, that was me. Being a real dick over here, knocking it over. It's annoying me too. So you poured the glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony?
I didn't think I need to include something so trivial. Binox, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left. Arrest him! I know.
Edgeworth, what the heck is going on in that brain of yours?
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. What the fuck do you keep putting a damn thing in the same place? I don't! I'm just stupid and my foot naturally gravitates towards it. Because I'm the worst person in the world. More or less. Ahem. Oh, dear. But there wasn't anyone else in the room, right?
Of course not.
Then who'd you pour it for?
Mr. Wright, there is a rhyme and a reason for everything. Can you wait just a little longer for it to be revealed to you?
In other words, Wright, be quiet and listen.
Precisely. I couldn't have said it better myself. Ugh.
So it was a mess? Are you sure it wasn't messy because of your fight with Mr. Corrida? I understand your frustrations at not being able to prove your theory. However, before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. Grr. And then, what did you see next, witness? Not about the worst person thing, but you're certainly a moron. Quiet, you! Slumped over.
Yes, he was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping. Is it just me, or did that right there sound a little odd?
Did it? I mean, looking at the crime photo. Were it not for the knife, and the missing button, I guess I'd believe he was sleeping, especially considering, the flower vase wasn't knocked over yet. I mean, it would be weird, there's a bed right over there, but yeah, he could be sleeping.
Then what did cross your mind? I thought maybe he had smashed everything up in anger because he lost the Grand Prix. And then felt tired after the rampage, so he decided to take a nap. Anyway, that's what I thought.
I see. So you didn't think he was dead at all? To be honest, I thought he just fainted, so I went to pour him some juice. You thought he fainted? I thought he was asleep at first. But then the room was in such a messy state, I thought maybe he had gotten into a fight with someone. And then it's when you went to pour the glass of juice.
Yes, he always has a hard time waking up. So Juan always has a glass of tomato juice to drink.
I see. And after that, what happened next?
I realized he was dead, and that's why I knocked the flower vase over.
And how did you come to realize that he was in fact dead?
I shook him over and over, but I never got a response. So I set the glass down on the dresser and tried to take a pulse. I was shocked and staggered back.
I knocked over the flower vase, so that's what happened.
Yes.
This is what it all comes down to.
Huh?
There's the absolute end for both sides, and Adrian is letting her guard down. Phoenix, now's our best chance yet to kill the prosecution's case.
That is harsh, Miss Andrews. Will you tell us the truth?
Oh dear, didn't pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in the messy state. Juan was sitting slumped over and tired in the corner. Saw him sitting like that, I thought he was dead, didn't cross my mind. But he just fainted, so I went to pour him some juice. I realized he was dead, that's why I knocked over the flower vase. God damn it. What do I have? I mean, what she's telling us right now doesn't explain how the knife got in his chest, but it's tricky because she is invoking her right to not testify in any way that would self-incriminate. So anything I present could be countered with that would just incriminate myself if I expanded on that more. Windows, thank you for the notification. I have an update. I'm good, though. Wouldn't be anything. It has to start at the guitar case and be one of these things, right? So, could it be the guitar case? There's his fingerprints, water on top of the lid. You spilled it and it landed on the guitar case, I would assume, based on that. Murder scene. Anything that contradicts anything here? Again, I mean, I would love to say the knife or the button, because obviously you would notice those if you weren't the one who put them there. But that's just self-incriminating at that point. Something like that. Thought he was dead, didn't cross my mind. He just fainted, so I went to pour him some juice. When I realized he was dead, that's when I knocked the vase over. I thought he was dead. The only thing that's really like a hard statement I think I could even contradict is this. Because that's when she's like, that's when I knocked the flower vase over, when you realized he was dead. Is the bottle of tomato juice in this photo unopened? I don't know, but I feel like it's in the photo for a reason, you know? Nothing really says. Tomato juice, yeah. Yeah, it could also be an unopened bottle. It doesn't look opened. I wish it was in color so I could see if, like, you know, there's a seal that isn't broken on it, or if it's, like, you know, mostly, if not all the way full. I don't have a lot of wiggle room in my meter, but I'm gonna try this tomato juice thing. Poured him tomato juice. Ah! So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body? Oh, okay, we're going that angle. I would have thought the knife or the button would have been self-incriminating, but, you know, if her argument is this is what I found when I saw the body, then yeah, there's a problem, obviously. The knife is sticking out of that guy. Ah. What is the meaning of this? Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There's a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Kurita's chest. I totally knew that. That's what I was going for. Ahem. Anyone who saw this scene would have immediately thought there was a dead man. That's, well, you see, I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who had fainted. Except maybe 7-9. And then so nonchalantly go to pour something to drink. Your point is? Miss Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie. And your lies prove one thing very clear. You are the real killer! No! It looks like the defense has somehow brought this ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Matt Engarde, is not guilty after all. But that's impossible. You're wrong. Miss Andrews, try to have some composure. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt, I swear it. He's the one who killed Juan. But you're the one who refused to testify. And your reason for not doing so is that you might end up incriminating yourself. That's because... Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance. Please don't. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you? I refuse to testify. Well, there you heard it. There is no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Matt Engarde's innocence has been clearly demonstrated. Is this it? Is it over? Have we found the truth at last? What's wrong, Baymax? I'm just tense. Maya's kidnapped. I'd like her back, please. Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. And now I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't. Well, I mean, first time for everything, right? Now then, I would like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Matt Engarde. Damn it! Edgeworth, you son of a bitch! Your Honor! The prosecution feels it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time. What? The reason is quite simple. The witness has yet to speak the absolute real truth. Edgeworth, you fuck, I got 10 minutes. You son of a bitch. The absolute real truth? What are you? Witness, don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted this silly idea into your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Matt Engarde will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party. That's a lie. I don't believe you. What? I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over, and Matt would never be declared guilty. What in the world is she talking about? Has she lost it? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Francesca von Karma. Quick, Mia! Fucking saunter up to her and slap her silly with your tits! Show her the strong, independent woman that she so desires to have in her life. Then she'll do whatever you say. I mean, huh? Don't you remember, Baynax? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another. Because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. Then right now, Miss Andrews is. Yesterday, she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss von Karma. Don't say a word. Don't say a word, no matter what happens. If you do, Matt Engarde will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now, and is clinging to them. Well, that's a fucking mistake. Then what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. But Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do now is get her not guilty. That's my only priority. Yeah, if she isn't the killer, we'll have another trial later. A separate trial to establish that. You can talk then, you bitch. It wasn't me. I'm begging you. Please believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help. Please. Someone. Help me. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. The court can't continue like this. Therefore, I'd like to hear what you intend to do. Let you declare my client not guilty and go home, Your Honor. Let's help her. Why? What I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Right, I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. And think about who is the real mastermind behind this crime. Who's the real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? There's no one else it could be except the woman crying over there, right? Come on! What will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? I mean, the most logical thing to do, it's Mukuriko Saba in the corner. Most logical thing to do would be request not guilty. Yay, hurrah, we have Maya back. Hey, Miss Andrews, here you need a good lawyer. My rates are cheap. And then in a separate trial, prove her innocence. Even if we prove Matt's guilty, he can't be tried for the same crime twice. He got a not guilty. That's double jeopardy. So, you know, everyone wins except Juan, but he's dead, so who cares? Everyone wins. But knowing this game, I'm going to have her force her to testify. Okay. I have to win a complete acquittal today. There's no way around it. But I can't bring myself to do it like this. Not when she's making that face. Miss Andrews! I'd like to know what you're really hiding. Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing? I'm all ready to pronounce not guilty and save my FA. Sure, Mr. Engarde would get an acquittal, but in his place you would be found guilty. Is this how you really want this trial to end? I mean, it would be at a separate trial, so. Be quiet. How dare you? You're trying to trick me. That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. And me! However, it's clear the defense's theory is the truth. You're wrong. I mean, hey, Edgeworth, we tried, all right? Even I, fucking stepped up to the plate on that one. Can't be mad at me. Blame your weird German half-sister or whatever she is. What a shame. I had hoped things wouldn't come to this. However, There's a missable achievement about making Andrews guilty. Yeah, I've got that, but that's way later. That is in 4.2. We're still in 2.2. I'd hope things wouldn't come to this. However,
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court. Stop.
Mr. Edgeworth?
This witness, how shall I put it? She has an illness. Ligma. What? And because of this illness, Ligma, she has tried to commit suicide in the past. I mean, Ligma will do that to you. What's Ligma? Steve Jobs. Please, stop. No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here. That's the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report. What will you do now, witness? You know what I am about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of this pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews. The secret of her dependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world. Please, please stop. I beg of you. If people find out... You gotta fucking testify then, Adrian. People find out, I'll... If you're going to say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. Been there, done that, sister. It's only as dramatic as you make it.
Edgeworth, how can you be so cold?
Wow. However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips, no matter what I have to do. So, will you tell the court yourself or shall I? Either is fine with me. I'll talk, but please, help me. Yeah, right, sure. Nothing matters anymore. Alright, let's get this the fuck over with. Holy shit. I'd like to end... I feel like we're near the end of this trial day. Or trial, maybe even. But I'd like to, you know, reach that at the end of my stream here. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. When I realized he was dead, that's when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. Then I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. And that's why I ended up using the nickel samurai costume. Stabbed the body with the knife? But why would you do that? Isn't it obvious to pin the blame on a certain person? Certain cowardly man. Who? You were going to blame it on Phoenix Wright? Judge! What the hell? It might take this court a little while to understand, but... this is the truth. The real killer is Matt. That scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time. Last time? So, Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Corrida, in the chest with the knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt Engarde for the murder. And this is her crime. You don't need quotes. That is a crime. What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer? Mr. Wright, please get over your shock and commence your cross-examination. Oh, boy. Sam thought he had fainted. Oh, dear. But you can tell from the state the room was in. There must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say you did not know he was dead? He had a scarf tied around his neck, but the scarf was part of the Jammin' Ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up and went to pour the juice. Realized he was dead, that's when the plan formulated. What was this plan you had? I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because, one, he was going to expose Matt's weakest weak point to the world. So Matt did this to swap Juan and silence him for good. Yo, Matt, get a new manager. This one sucks, dude. That's when I thought I should forge some evidence and pin this crime on Matt. Some of the forged pieces of evidence were the knife and the button. The first thing that came to mind was to plant the knife. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. That was so you could get the knife, correct? The knife Matt used at dinner had fingerprints all over it. Thought if I used it, then the police would certainly turn their eyes towards him. Matt was napping with a costume on at the time. I slipped in, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime. Then I stabbed Juan's body with the knife and ripped the button off. So you were the one to stab the victim with the knife! Gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did. But at the time, I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. Then when I stabbed Juan's dead body, I suddenly realized something. If I used the button, somehow I could make Matt look even more suspect. So you thought to rip one of the buttons off and plant them in Matt's Engarde's comma. Yes, that's what I had planned to do. But things never go that smoothly, do they? So I finished, returning, hidden inconvenience. An inconvenience? Matt needs a new manager. Oh yeah, big time. There was one with the camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway. I'm willing to bet my spikes it was Lotta. Yeah, probably. There was also a woman with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth. Quite the situation you found yourself in. I sympathize. That's Miss Oldbag for you. I had already been caught and made into a big scoop for a certain weekly tabloid once, so I couldn't very well go out looking like myself and get caught again. That's when I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. You were the one who prepared the costume, weren't you? Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it in Juan's guitar case the day before the awards ceremony. You did this in preparation for a press conference, correct? Yes. Juan wanted to wear the costume and hold a press conference in it. He was going to disclose Matt's big secret there. And what was this secret? You know, I get the feeling that a masked figure saying, hey, I, Matt, the person I definitely am, have this big damning secret I'm revealing to everybody. It'd be very easy for Matt to be like, yeah, that wasn't me. What the fuck? That's completely untrue. I don't know what the hell that was all about. This is clearly defamation. That I don't know. And she doesn't even know what the secret is. Anyway, I thought if I were to leave Juan's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, then people would think of Matt as the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume. I think we've heard enough. So after that, you went back to Matt Engarde's room and planted the button. Into Matt's Akama? Yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag. Then I snuck out of the hotel to get rid of it. My word! What does all this mean? Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt Well, no, you tampered with a crime scene, so... You also don't have any proof it's Matt, it's just your, suspicion. The man was asleep. So... Yeah, gonna go ahead and say you're still a criminal and we don't know who the killer is. Weird if Matt just randomly walked in on the con. It would be. Where's my manager? What's this announcement I'm hearing about a conference? He walks in as the, Nickel Samurai mask off. What the fuck are we doing? It's like, And then it's like, Juan set up an insanely stupid and poorly thought out publicity stunt. That would just destroy his career. Juan put his own career on the line more than Matt's. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk. Francesca, huh? She said I should under no circumstances confess to what I had done. That if I just kept quiet, Matt would be found guilty for sure. Yeah, she believes in herself way too much. She's kind of terrible at her job. 0 for 2 on the whole, prosecution cases. I had no choice but to believe her words. What this witness has done is clearly unlawful. Thank you. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she is not the real killer. Wait, Your Honor! The defense still... Right. Eh? It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything. As it would be hard to disprove the reveal thing. For example, high-level cosplays. Yeah, it's not even high level. Those are two completely different people wearing the outfit.
Matt, it's not like they knocked Matt out or anything. He was just asleep. He may have very well just walked in. And if he was masked the whole time he revealed it, that would easily call into question integrity. Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. The cross-examination of this witness is over, and so is today's trial. You couldn't establish the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright. But... Mr. Edgeworth, please place Mr. Andrews under arrest for further questioning. Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange to have her detention immediately. That is all. Court is adjourned for today. Well, they all cleared out except us. Even the witnesses and there's the chair. It's a nice chair. He just immediately left, along with all of the fucking spectators in the gallery.
No. Today's trial. It's over. And I didn't win an acquittal. No.
Why is she still here? Why are you still here, Edgeworth? Witness, would you mind if I ask you something? Rip Maya.
Edgeworth.
What is it?
Before you leave court today, I was wondering if I might look at one thing. The card in your hand. I have my interest on it for quite some time now. We have pearls at least. Yep. Well, good thing we have a spare aide. She'll take some molding to be like Maya. Pearls, how do you feel about burgers? What exactly is it? It was like a combination of their voices, then I went with her voice, and then I realized it was Edgeworth speaking. Oh, this? Mr. Wright also asked about this. Although I didn't remember it at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright, I remember just now I found this in the room the other day. The room? That day? Yes. I found this card when I discovered Juan's body. It was lying there right next to him. You found the card next to the victim's body? And you thought, I'll just take this for me, this potentially valuable bit of evidence? I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it into my pocket. I suppose. But it's not as if this card has any relevance to Juan's murder, right? Yeah, I guess not. But it's still a strange card, if you ask me. But as far as clue to this case, I don't see why. Oh, so you just altered the crime scene. Absolutely. She absolutely altered the crime scene. I mean, she already stabbed the man. She already... Honestly, taking a card is small peanuts compared to what she did. Witness! That card! Give it to me! Hurry! Edgeworth? Do you have any idea what you have stupidly yet inadvertently done? This! I can't believe you hid this from me all this time! I didn't mean to. What is this all about? I've never seen Edgeworth so emotional before. She sure did. The mask on at the time would be hard to prove it was Matt, and things might have been rough for a bit, but with no proof to support and reveal to blow it over, eventually the proof could easily have been dismissed as defamation means, correct?
That card. What in the world is it? And what does it mean?
I guess we'll never know.
All right, that is going to be my stopping point today. God, this trial. I mean, I like it, but it is going long. 1 day of investigation was 3 hours. 1 day of trial was 3 hours. Moving on to part 3 tomorrow, as we edge ever closer to the end of this game. But that is going to be it for me today. I wonder if PK's online. Usually when she's online, it's early enough in the day that it's one of these streams when I'm a bit earlier. No, PK's not online. Oh, well. All right, well, as I said, that's going to be it for me today. Be good people. I'll see you tomorrow for more of this riveting case. Will Maya be all right? What are you going to do? It's a long trial. Will Maya be all right? Probably not. Anyway, Toodle Pip, love you all. Be good people.